Yeah, country love and mercy more than life. America, America, make God thy gold refined till all success be nobleness and every gain divine. And you know, when I was in school, we used to sing something like this. Listen here. Oh, beauty God, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He gave me crown not good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me sing this. America, I love you, America. You see, my God, he done shed his face on thee. You ought to love him for it, because he crowned that good. He told me he would. Every brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, Lord. I thank you, Lord.
ABC News, I'm Tom Rivers. Vowing she'll apply the law as written, Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett will sit for the start of her Senate confirmation hearings later today. Her opening remarks obtained by ABC News.
The Senate kicking off several days of hearings to confirm Judge Amy Coney Barrett, the president's pick to replace the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the Supreme Court. Barrett is expected to face tough questions on issues related to health care, abortion, and gun rights. Her appointment would shift the balance of the court from 5-4 to 6-3 for conservatives. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
President Trump declaring himself cured of COVID-19, saying he's tested negative for the virus.
We are profoundly grateful. I'm fully recovered, and First Lady's doing great, and I would say fully recovered or just about fully recovered.
The president will hold another in-person campaign rally in Stanford, Florida tonight. This is ABC News. A public feud has erupted between the Trump campaign and the nation's top infectious disease doctor over a television ad.
Dr. Anthony Fauci pushed back over the use of a clip in a Trump campaign ad in which Fauci says, "I can't imagine that anybody could be doing more." Fauci says the comment was taken out of context, is from back in March, and that it was used without his permission. The Trump campaign disputed the comment was used improperly and then released a campaign email of quotes from Fauci praising the administration's response. Most are from March and April. It's a remarkable feud brewing as the Trump campaign looks to reframe the conversation around the administration's response to COVID-19. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
Millions of people in northern England are anxiously awaiting the announcement of further coronavirus restrictions. The British government confirmed Sunday that it will be introducing a new system for local lockdowns as a response to a resurgence of the virus. I'm Tom Rivers, ABC News.
Right now, Allstate has almost as many ways to save as there are types of music. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent to get a quote. Find out how much you can save today. Allstate. Now that should be music to your ears.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Smithbrook, Illinois.
Order! Continue, Ms. Garner.
With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day.
Objection! My credit card doesn't earn double miles on every purchase.
I object to your objection. With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase.
Order!
And right now, earn 100,000 bonus miles when you spend $20,000 in your first year.
I'll allow it.
No further questions, Your Honor. Well, just one. What's in your wallet?
Limited time offer. Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. The investigation continues into two deadly motorcycle accidents over the weekend. Maine State Troopers responded to a call in Corinna around 3:30 Saturday. They say 22-year-old Jacob Murray of Belgrade was hit by a car that turned out in front of him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Second accident took place in Wayne. Maine State Troopers say a woman in her late 70s backed her vehicle into Route 133. 58-year-old Scott Evans of Livermore Falls crashed into the passenger side of the car. Evans was pronounced dead at the scene, and that crash, again, under investigation. Florida woman with disability sues 6 Maine lodging establishments. Deborah Laufer has never visited the properties. In the federal lawsuit, she described as a tester who's making sure places comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Lawsuits say the establishment booking services discriminated against her. That's because they don't give enough information on accessible rooms or accessible features. Down East Transportation is changing the schedule for several shuttles. The changes impact the Bucksport Shuttle, Bar Harbor Shuttle, and the Ellsworth Shuttle. You can find updated schedules at downeasttrains.org or at the Acadia Gateway Center. In Augusta, part of Coney Street will be closed starting at 7 o'clock this morning. The closure is from Calumet Bridge to East Side Circle. That section of the street will be closed until one lane is paved. Then workers will move to a single lane closure. Lawmakers will start the confirmation process for President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, today. Senator Susan Collins will join the announcement of a new test swab manufacturing facility right here in Maine. Puritan Medical Products is building the new facility in Pittsfield. Senator Collins will speak at the future side of the plant along with the town's mayor and Puritan officials today. The additional facility will increase the state's testing swab capabilities by millions. An update this morning on Maine's recreational marijuana industry. Businesses reported nearly $100,000 in first-day sales. 6 businesses opened for the first day of recreational sales last Friday. It resulted in over $9,000 in sales tax for Maine. The Office of Marijuana Policy says it will update sales data tomorrow. A man has been arrested in New Hampshire after allegedly putting razor blades inside pizza doughs at the Hannaford and Saco. Police say 38-year-old Nicholas Mitchell was arrested in Dover, New Hampshire yesterday. They say security footage shows Mitchell tampering with several Portland pie pizza doughs back on October 6th. A customer says they later found razor blades in the dough. Police say Mitchell is a former associate of the company who manufactures the dough. New this morning, a nonprofit announces a music relief fund. Space says it's offering $1,000 relief grants to musicians across the state. All musicians above the age of 18 can apply. Applications open Friday and close November 2nd. Sports Patriots game rescheduled for tonight with the Broncos has been moved to Sunday. It'll air at 1 p.m. on CBS 13. Meanwhile, in Sunday Night Football, Seahawks win in the final seconds over the Vikings 27-26. Lakers win the NBA title with a 106-93 win over Miami to win the series 4-2. American League Championship Series Rays over the Astros 2-1 in Game 1. I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
You can say these 3 things about me or the coronavirus. You might have seen me before and not know it. You might know my name, but not recognize what I look like. I might be the reason you wear a mask. I'm Alec Rogers, and I work in Augusta. As Mainers, we have worked hard to fight COVID-19, and we're not done yet. With the upcoming election, learn all the safe ways to vote at augustamaine.gov. This public service announcement is from the city of Augusta, and every person you know who doesn't want to get COVID-19.
We're here on Colby campus today to interview student voters about the upcoming election. Hello, young man. What's your name?
Jimmy.
Where are you from, Jimmy?
California.
And where will you be voting this year?
Waterville.
And who will you be voting for State House?
Well, they handed me a sample ballot with the candidates' names circled I'm supposed to vote for. I think it was Madigan.
I see. High property tax rates are a big issue in Waterville. Waterville homeowners pay a property tax rate 28 times greater than Colby College, Waterville's wealthiest institution. Do you think that's fair?
No, That doesn't sound fair at all.
Did you know the person that they told you to vote for opposed efforts to have Colby College contribute more in property taxes to the city?
No, but I wish I did before I voted.
Don't be like Jimmy. For years, local Democratic candidates have run a vote mining scheme on Colby campus to get elected. They're counting on your uneducated vote. This year, before selecting your local candidates, please take the time to do your homework. Waterville residents deserve your educated vote. I'm Mark Andre, unenrolled for State House, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Mark Andre for State House.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is wrecked and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Partly sunny this morning and through the day today. It will be brightest further north with more clouds through southern Maine and New Hampshire. We'll start out in the 30s and then climb into the mid-50s for highs. Rain moves in tomorrow morning and will be with us through the day. Rain may be heavy at times with highs in the mid-50s. Mostly sunny 60s Wednesday and Thursday with more rain on Friday.
Thank you, Lexi. Right now we have partly cloudy skies. It's 28 in Skowhegan. Yeah, I said 28. 4 below freezing. But you knew that. 31 degrees in Waterville, 32 degrees on the dot here in Augusta. You're up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160, WSKW.
You think it? He says it.
Yada, yada, yada.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Good morning. Welcome in. The Mike Violet Show is officially in progress. It is Monday. It is October 12th, 2020. It is Columbus Day 2020. Happy Columbus Day to you and yours. For on this day in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. The Mike Violet Show is brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Contact them for all your electric and lighting servicing, including expert installation and repairs. 861-7028 online at KennebecElectric.com. You can find us online as well, legacy1160.com. You can click on the Listen Live link, and presto, you can stream us right there. Brought to you by the Harry J. Smith Company in Waterville. Facebook Live on the following platforms: the John James page, my page, and the Legacy page. Go to facebook.com/legacy1160 WSKW. And click, see. It's right. You don't have to click anything. It's right there for you on the screen. Whether it's your mobile device, your tablet, your iPad, your computer, whatever you've rigged up. Okay, on the program today, it's Monday. That means Waterville Mayor Nick Isgro is on the program, and Nick just moments ago posting a mayoral proclamation celebrating Columbus Day. Of course, it is on the federal whitehouse.gov website and has been for an awfully long time. He'll be here to celebrate Columbus Day with me after the 7 o'clock news. After the 8 o'clock news, the Sensei Leader and Mrs. Sensei Leader, both of whom can kick my ass. Jim Bouchard and his lovely wife Alex will be here. They have a new venture. These guys are always cooking up something, and it's always good. And Jim and Alex will be with me in the studio here after the 8 o'clock news. We have a lot to get to, so let's get cracking.
Hashtag what? They didn't really say that, did they?
Even while I was on vacation, I woke up in the middle of the night at 3:30 in the morning, just concerned about climate change.
It's hashtags and hot takes on the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Okay, item number one, President Trump saying in a phone call on Sunday to a group of supporters that he has tested totally negative for the coronavirus, despite White House physician Navy Commander Dr. Sean Conley releasing no new statements on the president's health. Here's what the president actually said.
I've been tested totally negative. I'm going to be out in Florida tomorrow working very hard because this is an election we have to win. This is the most important election of our lives.
Yeah, so we've been told. You got to admit the president certainly sounds strong, doesn't he? And why wouldn't he? Because he's Superman. Did you see the story about how Trump actually thought about putting a Superman shirt on after he got out of the hospital? Well, the president's claimed that he tested negative for the virus. The White House has not released any information since Dr. Conley sent out a memo Saturday, saying the president was no longer at risk of transmitting the coronavirus. Conley did not say, however, explicitly whether Trump had tested negative for it or not, but the president says he's all set. He's good to go. So let's move on. So today's the day. The Senate Judiciary Committee is going to convene today, 9 o'clock this morning, for the first day of confirmation hearings for ACB, for Judge Amy Coney Barrett, President Trump's nominee to the Supreme Court, in what is expected to be a fiercely partisan battle over the future of the High Court. You think? Why the Republicans are even bothering with this? Because it is just a courtesy. They don't have to do this. Why they're bothering with this and putting Judge Barrett through this and themselves through this is another reason why basically the Republicans at the national level are still a bunch of wussies. This is expected to last 4 days. The hearing will feature opening statements from 22 members of the panel. Oh my God. There's going to be a lot of hot air there, as well as introductions of Barrett by Indiana Senators Todd Young and Mike Braun and Patricia O'Hara, the former dean of the Notre Dame Law School. So the Republican-controlled Senate is charging ahead with their confirmation at a pace that is, it says here, uncharacteristic of the upper chamber, as they and President Trump want her confirmed before the general election on November 3rd, but the Democrats are casting Barrett's nomination, as we all know, illegitimate, citing the proximity to Election Day. All right, let's hear from some of the principals involved. Here's more from President Trump from that phone call yesterday.
To defend our Constitution, I proudly nominated also Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the United States Supreme Court, a great intellect, a great person.
She is no doubt supremely qualified for the Supreme Court, but waiting on the other side with unwelcome and unloving arms, Senator Chuck Hughes Schumer.
He has said that I think this will end up in the Supreme Court. And the president's all but shouting from the rooftops that he needs Judge Barrett on the court for his own self-interest. This statement alone and the possible confirmation of Judge Barrett signaled a dire need for recusal.
So they'll go through with this ridiculous dog and pony show, 4 days of hearings, and in the end, it'll get shoved right down Chuck Schumer's throat, and frankly, that can't happen soon enough for me. Yes, I'm a hateful son of a gun like that. The NBA season, in case you didn't notice, and you'd be among many who didn't, is over. The Los Angeles Lakers won the NBA championship last night as they beat the Miami Heat by a final of 106-93 in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, played on October 11th. LeBron James wins his 4th title with his 3rd different team. And, of course, this all happened in the bubble, and LeBron talked post-game about being a social justice warrior. What else?
And I think we all can say, from the social injustice conversations, the voter suppression, police brutality, to have this platform and have our players be able to unite like that, it's something that you will miss. You will think back on it.
And nobody cared. NBA ratings at an all-time low. NBA final ratings as bad as they were back in the late 70s and early 80s, when the NBA didn't even run the NBA finals in prime time, or the networks didn't. Remember, it was on tape delay back then. So your social justice warrior stuff didn't work. And of course, LeBron addressed all the doubters post game too.
I think, personally, thinking I had something to prove fuels me. And it fueled me over these last year and a half since my injury. It fueled me because no matter what I've done in my career up to this point, there's still a little rumblings of doubt or, comparing me to, the history of the game. And, has he done this? Has he done that? Having that in my head, having that in my mind, saying to myself, why not still have something to prove? It fuels me.
Hey, athletes use whatever motivation they can use. If you want to say nobody thought we could do it, everybody doubts us. Do you know of anybody? I mean, there's a group of LeBron haters. I'm not one of them. I'm sort of in the middle. A rare appearance on the fence by me. I'm sort of in the middle on LeBron. But what a gas bag between the social justice warrior crap and the doubters. Do you know of anybody who doubts LeBron James? He's the second greatest player of all time in my mind. MJ is at the top. Nobody is ever going to top Air Jordan. But LeBron's second. He's played in 10 or 11 NBA finals. He's won 4 of them now. He's been the MVP in those finals 4 times. 3 times. Who takes, other than that idiot Skip Bayless, who takes anything away from LeBron James? Now, should there be an asterisk beside this championship? I kind of think there has to be, don't you? When home and road games weren't a factor in this series, the players talked about the difficulty of playing in the bubble. Oh, boo-hoo. Oh, poor them. Now, aside from being away from your family, and I don't want to minimize that, not real difficult. I think that's the kind of gig we could all handle. So the Lakers win it. They have now tied the Celtics for 17 championships combined in both Minnesota when they were the Minneapolis Lakers and now in Los Angeles. Okay, a 4th member of the Patriots has tested positive for the corona, forcing tonight's game that was supposed to be played yesterday to be postponed. This time it's Byron Cowart, second-year defensive tackle, who started the first 4 games. He is the latest player to test positive. So the Patriots, who were scheduled to have a bye next week, will now play the Broncos in the game that was supposed to be yesterday, then got moved to last night. Following me here? I didn't think so. The Broncos' schedule's been altered by the NFL to allow them to play the Patriots. So the Patriots will play Sunday the 18th, 1 o'clock against the Broncos. That game will be televised on CBS. Hopefully Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore will test negative enough to be able to play. Meantime, the big story in the NFL yesterday, the gruesome injury suffered by Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. He has a compound fracture, and a dislocation of his right ankle. He's already had surgery, had it last night, and he is out for the rest of the year. The Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, will be the quarterback the rest of the way for the Cowboys, who came back and beat the woeful Giants yesterday 37-34 on a late field goal. Both the Giants and the Jets are a combined 0-10. Okay, Jeff Peterson mentioned this in his Real News Update, that 38-year-old man suspected in the pizza dough tampering at the Hannaford down in Saco. They found him down in Dover, New Hampshire. Nicholas Mitchell taken into custody. Authorities said there have been reports of other tampering cases at other Hannaford stores elsewhere in New England and New York states. A customer at the Saco Hannaford found razor blades in Portland pie pizza dough purchased at that store last week, but the police investigation widened in subsequent days, and on Sunday, Hannaford issued a product recall for all the Portland pie dough and any cheese products sold at all of its stores. But they found this turd, Nicholas Mitchell, who apparently worked for some company called It'll Be Pizza. They operate a manufacturing facility in Scarborough. Get a load of this. The police say that Mitchell is a former associate of that. His arrest comes 6 days after the customer who reported it, after a customer reported it to the Saco Police Department, finding it in a package of Portland pie fresh pizza dough. You can't get away with anything anymore. Earth to criminals, everything is on surveillance now. You're going to get caught. And thankfully, this turd got caught, and thankfully, nobody ate this stuff, for God's sakes. I'll tell you, it takes some kind of balls and you got to be some kind of stupid in order to do that kind of thing. Did you go see the fake Indian Saturday in Lewiston? I didn't think so. Not that many did. While in Lewiston campaigning for Joe Biden this weekend, Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat from Massachusetts, said Mainers also need to hold Republican Senator Susan Collins accountable and elect Sarah Gideon. Warren made the stop Saturday afternoon after campaigning for Joe Biden in New Hampshire earlier in the day. On Saturday in New Hampshire, she spoke to an outside crowd. No more than 100 people were allowed to attend per the state guidelines aimed at limiting the spread of the COVID. Here's what Warren said. I don't care what she said about Biden, but here's what she said about Susan Collins and Sarah Gideon. Quote, "It's hard to take on an incumbent, and it's a real uphill fight no matter what. But I think Sarah is exactly the person to do it, and that's partly because she's here talking about Susan Collins and her record." Warren then said she liked Gideon, and try not to laugh at this, she liked Gideon for her, quote, "genuine independence," unquote. Please, Senator Warren, if you could you give me one example of Sarah Gideon's genuine independence? It's time to go when Sarah Gideon literally jumps into the audio there. It is absolutely time to go. And that, friends, is hashtags and hot takes for this morning. It's Monday. It's October 12th, 2020. Happy Columbus Day to you and yours. We do this every Monday through Friday right after the 6 o'clock news.
Road to the White House. A busy week for President Trump starting tonight. ABC's Rachel Scott.
In Florida, holding a rally at an airport hangar. Before he tested positive for the virus, he was packing in those events. A Trump campaign official tells me the president's supporters will be instructed to wear a face mask. They will be handing them out. Sources tell us he is expected to be out every single day this week, but he has a lot of ground to cover, and he's behind 12 points in our latest ABC News poll.
Joe Biden has in-person events in Toledo and Cincinnati, Ohio today. The latter, a voter mobilization effort. ABC's Jonathan Karl says Supreme Court confirmation hearings probably won't distract from this campaign issue.
The main story, the story of the moment, is the pandemic, the outbreak at the White House, and the outbreak across much of the country, where several states now experiencing record highs in terms of coronavirus infections and also hospitalizations, the death rate rising. There's really no distracting from that, even a battle over a controversial Supreme Court pick.
Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
And Sarah Gideon for Senator Radio. Take one.
As a lifelong Mainer, I make it
Cut. Sarah, you were born in Rhode Island, so let's try take two, okay?
I'm Sarah Gideon, and I don't take corporate money.
Cut. Sarah, the research team says you did take corporate money, even though you tell us you don't. Let's keep going. Take three.
I'm Sarah Gideon, and on taxes...
Cut. Let's not go there. Sarah, you've tried 86 times to raise taxes and fees on everything from healthcare to heating oil to snowmobiles. So let's just move on to take four.
I'm working every day to...
Cut. You sent the legislature home 6 months ago and haven't done anything since then.
They don't need to know that.
Shut it down. Sarah, let's just toss this thing to someone who actually never stops working for me.
I'm Susan Collins, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senator.
I want to tell you about all of the incredible items you can find at Townline Antiques, but there's no substitute for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Now's the perfect time to shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home something to decorate a room with style, add to your collection, or share wonderful memories of your past with family and friends. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. The investigation continues into two deadly motorcycle accidents over the weekend. Maine State Troopers responded to a call in Corinna around 3:30 Saturday. They say 22-year-old Jacob Murray of Belgrade was hit by a car that turned out in front of him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Second accident took place in Wayne. Maine State Troopers say a woman in her late 70s backed her vehicle into Route 133. 58-year-old Scott Evans of Livermore Falls crashed into the passenger side of the car. Evans was pronounced dead at the scene, and that crash, again, under investigation. Florida woman with disabilities sues 6 Maine lodging establishments. Deborah Laufer has never visited the properties. In the federal lawsuit, she described as a tester who's making sure places comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Lawsuits say the establishment booking services discriminated against her. That's because they don't give enough information on accessible rooms or accessible features. Down East Transportation is changing the schedule for several shuttles. The changes impact the Bucksport Shuttle, Bar Harbor Shuttle, and the Ellsworth Shuttle. You can find updated schedules at downeasttrains.org or at the Acadia Gateway Center. In Augusta, part of Coney Street will be closed starting at 7 o'clock this morning. The closure is from Calumet Bridge to East Side Circle. That section of the street will be closed until one lane is paved. Then workers will move to a single lane closure. Lawmakers will start the confirmation process for President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, today. Senator Susan Collins will join the announcement of a new test swab manufacturing facility right here in Maine. Puritan Medical Products is building the new facility in Pittsfield. Senator Collins will speak at the future side of the plant along with the town's mayor and Puritan officials today. The additional facility will increase the state's testing swab capabilities by millions. An update this morning on Maine's recreational marijuana industry. Businesses reported nearly $100,000 in first-day sales. 6 businesses opened for the first day of recreational sales last Friday. It resulted in over $9,000 in sales tax for Maine. The Office of Marijuana Policy says it will update sales data tomorrow. A man has been arrested in New Hampshire after allegedly putting razor blades inside pizza doughs at the Hannaford and Saco. Police say 38-year-old Nicholas Mitchell was arrested in Dover, New Hampshire yesterday. They say security footage shows Mitchell tampering with several Portland pie pizza doughs back on October 6th. A customer says they later found razor blades in the dough. Police say Mitchell is a former associate of the company who manufactures the dough. New this morning, a nonprofit announces a music relief fund. Space says it's offering $1,000 relief grants to musicians across the state. All musicians above the age of 18 can apply. Applications open Friday and close November 2nd. Sports Patriots game rescheduled for tonight with the Broncos has been moved to Sunday. It'll air at 1 p.m. on CBS 13. Meanwhile, in Sunday Night Football, Seahawks win in the final seconds over the Vikings 27-26. Lakers win the NBA title with a 106-93 win over Miami to win the series 4-2. American League Championship Series Rays over the Astros 2-1 in Game 1. I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You want to get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
911, what's your emergency?
I think we're going to need a fire truck over here.
Is something burning, sir?
Yeah, it's Susan Collins. She and her allies have told so many lies about Sarah Gideon, some of us think their pants might combust. You know, liar, liar.
Pants on fire. Yes, good thing you called. Can you see any flames?
Well, right now it's just a whole lot of smoke Susan Collins is using to cover up her record on taxes. She was the key vote to pass Donald Trump's tax plan, you know?
I do remember that.
Yep, Collins gave billions in tax cuts to corporations and the wealthy, but raised taxes on Maine families.
Any idea why she did that?
Yeah, maybe because the corporate PACs gave her $6 million?
Okay, stand by. I'm contacting dispatch.
They better hurry. Susan Collins' lies are out of control.
Susan Collins, she's not for you anymore.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
In this election, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Maine is fighting for your voice to be heard. From preventing cuts to Social Security, to protecting Medicare, to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on the issues that matter to you. And AARP Maine is here to help. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/Maine votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/Maine votes today. Paid for by AARP.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Partly sunny this morning and through the day today. It will be brightest further north with more clouds through southern Maine and New Hampshire. We'll start out in the 30s and then climb into the mid-50s for highs. Rain moves in tomorrow morning and will be with us through the day. Rain may be heavy at times with highs in the mid-50s. Mostly sunny 60s Wednesday and Thursday with more rain on Friday.
Okay, Lexi, thanks very much. Clear skies, sun coming up. It's some chilly out there, that's for sure. 28 in Skowhegan, 31 in Waterville, 30 in Augusta. That's the deal. You're up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
His mediocre high school academic achievements have prepared him nicely for a career in radio.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Good morning. Welcome in. Mike Violet Show in progress. 6:37 Monday, October 12th, 2020. Columbus Day. Because on this day, you know the thing. Go ahead, Joe. I want Joe Biden to say that, to sing the Columbus song. On this day in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. All right, show's brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting, 861-7028, online, KennebecElectric.com. Live stream, Legacy1160.com, powered by the Harry J. Smith Company. Our Facebook Live feed on my page, on John's page, on the Legacy page, brought to you by Moody's Collision Center. So, with it being Columbus Day, of course, how about some Columbus Day tunes?
1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. He had 3 ships he left from Spain. He sailed through sunlight, wind and rain. He sailed by night, he sailed by day. He used the stars to guide his way. 90 sailors were aboard. Some men sailed while others snored. Then the workers went to sleep. Another sailed the ocean deep. Day by day they looked for land. They dreamed of trees and rocks and sand. October 12th their dreams came true. Never saw a happier crew than in 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Again, 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Yeah, thanks. That's some children's entertainer that I found on YouTube this morning named Mr. Mike, ironically, MrMikeTV.com with a Columbus Day song for kids. All right, I want to roll right into this. I don't watch Saturday Night Live at all, and you probably don't either. But Bill Burr, a brilliant comedian who is totally unafraid and completely fearless, was the featured guest Saturday night. And he came out, and he was Bill Burr, and nobody was spared. He went after white women. He went after the gays. He went after cancel culture. And if you didn't catch it, here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Burr.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I am so excited to be here. I have been doing stand-up forever, and this has always been a lifelong dream of mine to come here and host Saturday Night Live. So thank you so much for coming out. During these difficult times. You guys all look like surgeons with your masks on. Makes me feel comfortable that you're wearing masks. I like people who wear masks. That's good. You're listening to the eggheads, the people we all cheated off of in high school, right? Keep listening to them. And then if you don't wear a mask, that doesn't bug me either, right? Take out your grandparents, you know? Take out your weak cousin with the asthma. I don't care. It's your decision. There's too many people. It's a dream come true. If you're that dumb and you want to kill your own family members, by all means do it. Stops you from reproducing. It's literally a dream come true. And speaking of dreams come true, did you see Rick Moranis got sucker punched on the Upper West Side? New York is back, baby! New York is back! Yes! We lost our edge there for a minute. City started looking like a giant Bed Bath & Beyond, and then bam! Oh, Ricky took one in the chops. It had to happen. That's what happens when you stick an M&M store in Times Square. All right? The universe has to balance itself. Get the peep shows back in Times Square. Old people can walk safely 40 blocks away. I don't know. I'll probably get canceled for doing that joke. You know, how stupid is that cancel thing? They're literally running out of people to cancel. They're going after dead people now. They're trying to cancel John Wayne. It's like, yeah, dude, God did that 40 years ago. They're all up in arms. They're like, did you hear what he said in that interview in Playboy in 1970? Can you believe that? It's like, yeah. He was born in 1907. That's what these people sounded like. You never talked to your grandparents and brought up the wrong subject, and all of a sudden it went off the rails. Like, oh, just keep making the cookies. Yeah, you don't bring up race or religion with your grandparents. You keep it simple. Anyway, I don't know. I guess my grandparents are older. I don't know. Plowing ahead. Plowing ahead. Let's talk white women here, shall we? Let's talk white women. White women, you're amazing your accomplishments over the last few years. I got to tell you, the way white women somehow hijacked the woke movement, generals around the world should be analyzing this. Just to refresh your memory, the woke movement was supposed to be about people of color not getting opportunities, the at-bats that they deserve, finally making that happen. And it was about that for about 8 seconds. And then somehow, white women swung their Gucci-booted feet over the fence of oppression and stuck themselves at the front of the line. I don't know how they did it. I've never heard so much complaining in my life from white women. My life is so hard. With my SUV and my heated seats. You have no idea what it's like to be me. Trash and white guys. The nerve. Where's the camera? The nerve of you white women. Listen, I don't want to speak ill of my bitches here, okay? I don't. But let's go back in history here, okay? You guys stood by us toxic white males through centuries of our crimes against humanity. You rolled around in the blood money. And occasionally, when you wanted to sneak off and hook up with the black dude, if you got caught, you said it wasn't consensual. Yeah, that's what you did. That's what you did. So why don't you shut up, sit down next to me, and take your talking to. Thank you. So, I haven't been in New York for about a year. You know, I was here last year. I was shooting a movie. Had a great time with Judd Apatow, Pete Davidson, and all the guys. Yeah, had a great time. And I hadn't been here in like 13 years, and I immediately noticed how extra crowded the city was. And I was getting all claustrophobic. I'm like, what's going on? How much some people not using safe sex and making all these babies, you know? So I finally walked up to this old New York door guy, and I was just like, dude, what's going on? What's with all these people here? And he was just like, oh, no, don't worry. He goes, it's June. He goes, it's Pride Month. And I'm like, what's that? You know, I'm 52. I never heard of it, right? They didn't have that when I was a kid. He goes, oh, it's Gay Pride Month. And I was just like, oh. Dude, you know when you're just like stuck in the Matrix and you just can't, everything's just pressed up, you can't see anything? And then somebody gives you that little nugget of information that just pulls it back. It's like, why is it so crowded? It's Gay Pride Month. Tank tops. 0% body fat. 2 guys kissing. Rainbow flags. I didn't know that. That's what I learned. The month of June is Gay Pride Month. That's a little long, don't you think? For a group of people that were never enslaved. How did they get all of June? Dude, black people were actually enslaved. They get February. They get 28 days of overcast weather. Sun goes down at 4 in the afternoon. Everybody's shivering. Nobody wants to go on the parade. Look, yeah. How about you hook them up with July? These are equator people. Give them the sun for 31 days. There's gay black people. They could celebrate from June 1st, June 31st, 61 days of celebrating. All right, that's all my time. We got a great show for you guys, everybody. Jack White is here. It's going to be amazing. Please stick around.
And what I loved most about it, obviously, Burr went after everybody as tamely as he can on network television, is the uncomfortable nature. You could tell that the audience, who were in many cases the butt of the jokes, a little bit uncomfortable. That laughter is a little bit, that's kind of funny, but it's about me. Should I laugh? Or, should I halfway laugh? Or how does that go? And so forth and so on. And anyway, speaking of laughing at people, Joe Biden, here he is. You can't make this stuff up. We don't have to. Hold on. Oh, there's a lead into this. I'm sorry. I forgot about that. Here's Joe Biden.
Everywhere I've been hearing all around the country. You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I know every time I try my breast, it's never, ever enough. That's for sure. All right. Often, and I wasn't the first one to say it. I think it was Michael Savage, the talk show host, who came up with the phrase, liberalism is a disease, or something to that effect. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the man who is the living, breathing poster child for the phrase liberalism is a disease. Here is Keith Olbermann.
Trump can be and must be expunged. The hate he has triggered, the Pandora's box he has opened, they will not be so easily destroyed. So let us brace ourselves. The task is twofold. The terrorist Trump must be defeated, must be destroyed, must be devoured at the ballot box. And then he and his enablers and his supporters and his collaborators and the Mike Lees and the William Barrs and the Sean Hannitys and the Mike Pences and the Rudy Giulianis and the Kyle Rittenhouses and the Amy Coney Barretts must be prosecuted and convicted and removed from our society while we try to rebuild it. And to rebuild the world Trump has nearly destroyed by turning it over to a virus. Remember it, even as we dream of a return to reality and safety and the country for which our forefathers died, that the fight is not just to win an election, but to win it by enough to chase, at least for a moment, Trump and the maggots off the stage, and then try to clean up what they left. Remember it, even though to remember it means remembering that the fight does not end November 3rd, but in many ways will only begin that day.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is 50 shades of crazy right there. And the left says Trump and his supporters' rhetoric is the dangerous rhetoric. Wow. Unhinged Trump derangement syndrome like never seen before. Okay. From the World Health Organization, this is Dr. David Nabarro, who is the World Health Organization Special Envoy on COVID-19, telling The Spectator over in Great Britain and their reporter anchor Andrew Neil about lockdowns, talking about lockdowns.
But we had Professor Sunetra Gupta from Oxford University on, and she was implying, and I'm interested in you because you have a global mandate, a global view, was that a problem we don't think about in lockdowns is that they're very nationalistic. That if we lock down our economy, then it hits our economy. But it also means we are not buying stuff. We're not trading with weaker economies. We are not just destroying our own jobs, we're destroying the jobs of all those that in the poorer parts of the world that export to us. That seemed to me to be a reasonable point.
Really important point by Professor Gupta. I want to say it again. We in the World Health Organization do not advocate lockdowns as a primary means of control of this virus. The only time we believe a lockdown is justified is to buy you time to reorganize, regroup, rebalance your resources, protect your health workers who are exhausted. But by and large, we'd rather not do it. Just look at what's happened to the tourism industry, for example, in the Caribbean or in the Pacific, because people aren't taking their holidays. Look what's happened to smallholder farmers all over the world because their markets have got dented. Look what's happening to poverty levels. It seems that we may well have a doubling of world poverty by next year. We may well have at least a doubling of child malnutrition because children are not getting meals at school and their parents in poor families are not able to afford it. This is a terrible, ghastly global catastrophe, actually. And so we really do appeal to all world leaders. Stop using lockdown as your primary control method. Develop better systems for doing it. Work together and learn from each other. But remember, lockdowns just have one consequence that you must never, ever belittle, and that is making poor people an awful lot poorer.
Listen to the scientists. Listen to the doctors, they said. That guy's from the World Health Organization. I know a lot of people have differing views, but how about that? But instead, Janet T. Mills and the rest of them did what they do, and they locked things down for the most part. So there is that. And lastly, here on the Sound segment this morning, it is time for the Columbus Day edition of Swing Hard, Turn Left from Ethan Strimling. Today's episode entitled, Why Would You Honor Columbus? Here's Ethan Strimling.
Perhaps it's partisan politics, or perhaps it's flat out bigotry, but I'll never really understand why some people refuse to honor Native Americans on Indigenous Peoples Day. This is Ethan Strimling with Swing Hard, Turn Left. I understand a basic tenet of conservatism is to resist change, to look to the past for hope, to want to reverse progress to a time when perhaps it was easier to look the other way at injustice and racism. But honestly, Christopher Columbus, he was apparently incompetent according to his own government. And when he got here, he enslaved people, was a sadist, incited a genocide. I mean, maybe it's the same belief system that says we want to honor this man that says we need to keep Confederate statues up. Statues of others who enslaved people and whipped them and tortured them. Statues of people who tried to destroy our country like Robert E. Lee. I guess I don't really understand that either. But instead, on this Indigenous Peoples Day, I hope that we all can honor those who were the original tillers of the soil from which we all reap. This is Ethan Strimling with Swing Hard, Turn Left.
1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. He had 3 ships he left from Spain. He sailed through sunlight, wind and rain. He sailed by night, he sailed by day. He used the stars to guide his way. 90 sailors were aboard. Some men sailed while others snored. Then the workers went to sleep. Another sailed the ocean deep. Day by day they looked for land. They dreamed of trees and rocks and sand. October 12th their dreams came true. Never saw a happier crew than in 1492 when Columbus sailed the ocean blue. In 1492 when Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
ABC Entertainment News.
The vice presidential debate. Saturday Night Live's Cold Open tackled the Kamala Harris-Mike Pence face-off, and its most talked-about moment, the fly that landed on Pence's head. Let me at him. Turns out it was Joe Biden. Jim Carrey, once again, transforming like Jeff Goldblum in the 1986 movie The Fly. Kate McKinnon played moderator Susan Page, with Maya Rudolph reprising her Kamala Harris impression.
Senator Harris, help me out. Oh, no, I'm good.
Following a moment of silence, former Van Halen lead singer Sammy Hagar and former bassist Michael Anthony played the band's 1992 hit Right Now Saturday at a concert in Catalina, California, in memory of guitarist Eddie Van Halen, who died last week.
I'm Diana of Themyscira.
Wonder Woman star Gal Gadot and director Patty Jenkins are teaming up again for a movie about Egyptian Queen Cleopatra. And Hugh Jackman is 52. I'm Christopher Watson, ABC News.
Hi, it's Joey Joseph from Colebrook Mitsubishi in Skowhegan. While other dealers are just scrambling around trying to drop their prices, increase their services, or offer you more money for your trade-in, Colebrook Mitsubishi has been doing that from day one. And that's precisely how we've become the #1 Mitsubishi dealer in all of New England. Whether you've been dreaming of driving a new Mitsubishi Outlander, Eclipse Cross, Outlander Sport, or Mirage, we know that you won't find anyone better to help you out. And don't forget our new Mitsubishis come with the industry's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. See us for details. If you've had credit mishaps, come see us and find out how we can help. Everyone deserves a second chance with a nicer, newer ride. Why not choose a small-town dealer with friendly folks to do business with? Small-town dealer with big-time discounts. We wish everyone good health and happiness. You can shop at our facility or online at ColebrookMitsubishi.com with great confidence. Colebrook Mitsubishi, Route 201 in Skowhegan.
This is Mark Andre for State House. 2 years ago, Colleen Madigan promised increased revenue sharing with lower taxes in Waterville. It didn't. To lower taxes in Waterville, we need property tax fairness. In 2019, Colby College's total value exceeded $148 million, and they paid just under $137,000 in taxes to Waterville, an equivalent tax rate of only 0.92. By contrast, Waterville residents paid a tax rate of 25.76, a rate 28 times higher than the rate paid by Waterville's wealthiest institution. This subsidy paid by Waterville residents to Colby College is as unfair as it is unsustainable. As your representative, I will fight to pass legislation that restores property tax fairness to Waterville. I'm Mark Andre for State House. I will work to make life more affordable for hardworking Maine families, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Mark Andre for State House.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I
I want to tell you about the incredible items you can find at Townline Antiques, but there's no match for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Now is the perfect time to shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home a little something to decorate a room with style, add to your collection, or share a wonderful memory of your past with friends and family. Townline Antiques open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
Oh, say, can you see my daughters light? What so proudly behave and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets that a flame was still there. Oh, saved us that star-spangled banner yet waved o'er the land of the free and the
ABC News, I'm Tom Rivers. Confirmation hearings begin this morning for Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett. ABC's Trish Turner.
We know Democrats think this particular hearing right now for a Trump nominee this close to the election, it's never happened in history, and Democrats are sure to let us know that, and they are going to find a lot of moments to make mischief.
Democratic senators expected to grill Barrett on abortion rights and the Affordable Care Act. President Trump heading back on the campaign trail today. His personal doctor says the president is no longer at risk of spreading COVID-19. The president declaring himself COVID-free and immune. After the administration's $1.8 trillion stimulus proposal was rebuffed by members of both parties, now White House aides pushing for immediate action on a much more narrow measure, redirecting $130 billion in unused PPP funds. This is ABC News. Mexico is now confirming its first case of a double whammy. A person testing positive for both the coronavirus and the flu at the same time. 54-year-old woman in the hospital now. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is expected to announce a new 3-tier coronavirus lockdown system today in Britain. And a whole lot of trouble for a Louisiana boy after a joyride in a school bus.
I don't know what's going on, but it looked like somebody that stole the school bus.
That's exactly what happened in Baton Rouge. Someone took the school bus for a joyride, weaving through town as stunned neighbors looked on.
Sunday, you're just trying to relax, and things happen.
The chase lasted 13 miles before the bus struck a gas line and a tree before coming to a stop. When police got to the bus, they discovered it was an 11-year-old boy behind the wheel.
One of the policemen said he had never seen anything like this before.
The child was booked into juvenile detention on multiple charges, including theft of a motor vehicle and aggravated assault. Todd Ant, ABC News.
I'm Tom Rivers, ABC News.
Microban 24 protects against Staphylococcus aureus and Enterobacter aerogenes bacteria, but does not provide 24-hour protection against viruses. Every time you touch a surface, you leave behind bacteria. To keep surfaces sanitized all day, use Microban 24. Spray on hard surfaces to kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria initially. Once dry, Microban 24 is effective for 24 hours on bacteria when used as directed. Microban 24 sanitizing spray, bathroom, and multi-surface cleaner.
Pro Extra is the Home Depot's free loyalty program built for pros. Members earn perks just for shopping, like new Pro Extra dollars or tool rental perks. Get exclusive benefits every day that save time and money. And here's an extra, $20 off your next in-store purchase of $200 or more, just for signing up. Want to save? Join Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Visit the Pro Desk in-store at homedepot.com/Pro Extra for details.
I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. The investigation continues into 2 deadly motorcycle accidents over the weekend. Maine State Troopers responded to a call in Corinne around 3:30 Saturday. They say 22-year-old Jacob Murray of Belgrade was hit by a car that turned out in front of him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Second accident took place in Wayne. Maine State Troopers say a woman in her late 70s backed her vehicle into Route 133. 58-year-old Scott Evans of Livermore Falls crashed into the passenger side of the car. Evans was pronounced dead at the scene, and that crash, again, under investigation. Florida woman with disability sues 6 Maine lodging establishments. Deborah Laufer has never visited the properties. In the federal lawsuit, she described as a tester who's making sure places comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Lawsuits say the establishment booking services discriminated against her. That's because they don't give enough information on accessible rooms or accessible features. Down East Transportation is changing the schedule for several shuttles. The changes impact the Bucksport Shuttle, Bar Harbor Shuttle, and the Ellsworth Shuttle. You can find updated schedules at downeasttrains.org or at the Acadia Gateway Center. In Augusta, part of Coney Street will be closed starting at 7 o'clock this morning. The closure is from Calumet Bridge to East Side Circle. That section of the street will be closed until one lane is paved. Then workers will move to a single lane closure. Lawmakers will start the confirmation process for President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, today. Senator Susan Collins will join the announcement of a new test swab manufacturing facility right here in Maine. Puritan Medical Products is building the new facility in Pittsfield. Senator Collins will speak at the future side of the plant along with the town's mayor and Puritan officials today. The additional facility will increase the state's testing swab capabilities by millions. An update this morning on Maine's recreational marijuana industry. Businesses reported nearly $100,000 in first-day sales. 6 businesses opened for the first day of recreational sales last Friday. It resulted in over $9,000 in sales tax for Maine. The Office of Marijuana Policy says it will update sales data tomorrow. A man has been arrested in New Hampshire after allegedly putting razor blades inside pizza doughs at the Hannaford and Saco. Police say 38-year-old Nicholas Mitchell was arrested in Dover, New Hampshire yesterday. They say security footage shows Mitchell tampering with several Portland pie pizza doughs back on October 6th. A customer says they later found razor blades in the dough. Police say Mitchell is a former associate of the company who manufactures the dough. New this morning, a nonprofit announces a music relief fund. Space says it's offering $1,000 relief grants to musicians across the state. All musicians above the age of 18 can apply. Applications open Friday and close November 2nd. Sports Patriots game rescheduled for tonight with the Broncos has been moved to Sunday. It'll air at 1 p.m. on CBS 13. Meanwhile, in Sunday Night Football, Seahawks win in the final seconds over the Vikings 27-26. Lakers win the NBA title with a 106-93 win over Miami to win the series 4-2. American League Championship Series Rays over the Astros 2-1 in Game 1. I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
You can say these 3 things about me or the coronavirus. You might have seen me before and not know it. You might know my name, but not recognize what I look like. I might be the reason you wear a mask. I'm Alec Rogers, and I work in Augusta. As Mainers, we have worked hard to fight COVID-19, and we're not done yet. With the upcoming election, learn all the safe ways to vote at augustamaine.gov. This public service announcement is from the city of Augusta, and every person you know who doesn't want to get COVID-19.
Our Medicare supplement and drug coverage is so expensive, we're barely keeping up with our bills.
My husband and I were in the same situation. So I got some help from the Senior Planning Center. They were able to show us some high-quality Medicare Advantage plans that saved us a lot of money.
The Senior Planning Center? Tell me more.
They have helpful agents all over the state. Real Mainers helping Mainers. Give them a call at 778-6565. The Senior Planning Center. They were there to help when it mattered most. I'm glad I called them. You'll be glad too.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Partly sunny this morning and through the day today. It will be brightest further north with more clouds through southern Maine and New Hampshire. We'll start out in the 30s and then climb into the mid-50s for highs. Rain moves in tomorrow morning and will be with us through the day. Rain may be heavy at times with highs in the mid-50s. Mostly sunny 60s Wednesday and Thursday with more rain on Friday.
All right, Lexi, thank you, sunshine. We've got 30 degrees in Skowhegan, 32 in Waterville, sunshine, 32 degrees as well in Augusta. You're up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
It's like your father is on the radio every day.
When I was 17, I drank some very good beer. I drank some very good beer I purchased with a fake ID. My name was Brian McKee.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Yeah, it is. It's 7:09. Good morning. Happy Columbus Day to you and yours. It's Monday, October 12th, 2020. I'm Mike Violet. It's the Mike Violet Show in progress. It's brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting, 861-7028, online at KennebecElectric.com. You can find us online. Go to Legacy1160.com. Listen live there. That's brought to you by the Harry J. Smith Company. Our Facebook Live feed brought to you by Moody's Collision Center. There is no bigger cheerleader for Mr. Christopher Columbus alive than my next guest. It's Monday. That means it's Mondays with the mayor. Here he is, Columbus aficionado, Mayor Nick Isgro. Good morning, Mayor Isgro.
Good morning. No bigger fan indeed. The man was a hero.
Ethan Strimling just said during Swing Left, Turn Hard, or whatever that's called, that he was not a hero.
Ethan's a clown, and he knows it. Oh, gosh.
He said that Columbus was a bad guy.
No, Christopher Columbus, certainly, I mean, he was a flawed human, but so is Ethan, so is myself. I don't think anyone else, I don't think anybody on the planet would say that they're not a flawed human being.
Speak for yourself.
But no, Christopher Columbus was a man who was a visionary. He dared to do things that nobody else thought possible. He ended up in the process of that discovering this land and discovering his people and bringing not only opening the West and connecting the two hemispheres for the first time and opening the West to European exploration and conquest, which ultimately led to the expansion of Western civilization, which is the greatest gift to humanity throughout the Western world, and also brought the Catholic faith and Jesus Christ to this hemisphere. So for that, we applaud the man, and he is, we wouldn't all be here today if it weren't for him. And for those who look, we have to look at things through his historical perspective and put things in their proper place. I don't really want to hear about, well, this happened or that happened and white man bad, because, yeah, look, did some bad things happen? Was this land conquered through a lot of bloodshed? Yes, it was. Were the Native American tribes that were here already? He discovered two tribes when he ended up in the Caribbean. One of them, go figure the name, the Caribs, were cannibals. The Aztec people practiced human sacrifice in the tens of thousands of people. So the history, and I've said this all along, and I think I've said it on the show, the history of humanity is a cruel one. And there is not one race of people, not one ethnicity of people who hasn't participated in the blood and gore of conquest. And to single out one group of people, which only make up today 8% of the world's population, which would be European peoples, to promote a radical political agenda, it's just absurd. You go to the Capitol, if you've ever been to the Capitol building, and you get into the middle and you look up at the ceiling, and there's this beautiful kind of panoramic. It goes all the way around the dome in the Capitol of this nation's history. And it starts with Columbus. Clearly, the founding fathers of America, our founding fathers, saw that as a deep connected part of of their history and how they came to do what they were doing. They weren't Spanish. They weren't Italian. These were Anglo-British, right, for the most part, Protestant British, but they still saw that connection. They understood Western civilization as a whole and its advancement. And to do what we're doing now, as was said in the Columbus Day Proclamation by the president today, we can get into that a little bit. It's just horrific what they're doing to our kids, trying to make them hate themselves and their heritage. But we're certainly celebrating it.
Waterville Mayor Nick Isgro is here in studio. It's Mondays with the Mayor. You can go back to the Bible, and certainly I'm no Bible scholar. You certainly know it far better than I. But you can go back to the Bible to find the beginning of flawed men led by Jesus Christ himself. Anybody other than Jesus, everybody else was flawed.
Actually, historically, God picks. It's like when you're picking a team, right? You're on a playground picking a team. You pick the best ones first, right? And you pick, so and so and so and so until like the last guys are all embarrassed and sheepish because they know they're the worst players on the field. Typically, God goes the other way. He picks the worst ones first. It's like he goes against the odds every time.
But my point is that history from the beginning of time, from zero till now, is littered with men and women of great flaws, some greater than others. How did we get to the point where this was, to me, so easily flipped around with the thing of Columbus is bad, indigenous people, and how this got flipped so easily? Because even 10 years ago, this was still okay.
No, actually, I have a book that we're going to be reading today to the little kids in our family. It's called Follow the Dream, a story of Christopher Columbus. And has a lot of beautiful art in it. It was from the early 1990s. And this book won like children's book awards. That wasn't that long ago.
It's got flipped around real fast.
I couldn't believe, I was surprised actually to find it on Amazon. But there it was. And I was reading about it. And it made me realize just how fast it got flipped. It happened fast in the last few years for us. But you got to remember, the left has been on the Marxists have been on a long march for the last 100 years. They always have taken the long view of using multi-generations to take over. I mean, this started back in the 20s and the 30s. They were here in this country. They were getting into the university systems, getting into the bureaucracies. I mean, essentially, it took over 100 years for them to take over our institutions. And now they've taken over woke capital as well. So you have this kind of leftist draconian tyranny that's been implemented in HR departments throughout the country. And it took them 100 years to actually get here. We're just waking up to the fact because in general, the GOP is weak and conservatives are confused, have always been somewhat confused and weak into the evil that you're facing. When you're facing this long march of the left, we need to start taking that bigger view. We need to start thinking, how do we take over these institutions and get them back for ourselves? How do we use the powers that we have when we have it to implement our worldview to make it harder for the left? When Barack Obama was president of the United States and they had all of the power of government, they used it. I mean, he filled even the military ranks and the deep state he put it on, full speed ahead, filling it with people with that worldview. And when Republicans get power, it seems like we tend to just want to stop things where they are. It's like, okay, let's see if we can just hang out here for a while, which then means we're constantly creeping to the left because then when they get power, they just take a few steps more. That is why they hate Donald J. Trump, because President Trump is the first person who's come around like a battering ram who's actually starting to beat them back in the other direction. And because that interferes with the financial grift that it seems the GOP establishment tends to be focused on with endless foreign wars and things like that. He's continuing to fight against both the swamp on the left and the right.
I've always said, you have too. When you have the hammer, use it.
Yeah.
Use the hammer. And the Republicans don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't do that. You can't just stop it. You can't just nip it in the bud. You've got to nip it in the bud and then go back.
Yeah, where are all the arrests? We keep hearing about these grand crimes that took place. Where are the arrests? We don't need to designate Antifa and BLM terrorist organizations. We have RICO laws in the books now that we could be bringing charges against the funders and operators of these organizations and taking them down so they stop burning down our cities and all this stuff. Just take care of the problem. I'm hoping that when we get through the hurdle and the president wins re-election, that that at that point we can start using some force to protect American
Yeah,
citizens.
I mean,
we had a Trump supporter shot dead over the weekend.
I know, and
the GOP is acting like this hasn't happened. Have you heard anything mainstream on this?
No, not at all.
No, but yet, some guy who's abusing his girlfriend and is like running to reach a knife gets shot by a cop. GOP is right out there to condemn white supremacy in the police department.
Well,
So
we've
weak.
literally had the world changed because of it.
Yeah, well, that
All right.
that and the scamdemic.
Well, yes, that too, and that gets more scammy all the time. But we literally, because of the George Floyd shooting, killing, death, however we want to phrase it, we've literally had the entire world. We just had the NBA end last night, thank God, and nobody was interested, of course, which is even better. But what did LeBron James talk about after the game? Social justice warrioring and all that they did while they were in the bubble.
Yeah, maybe that's why their ratings were down by 70%.
Lowest that they could possibly be.
People don't want to watch sports for this stuff. Just shut up, collect your paycheck. You're getting millions of dollars to play a game. I mean, that's how I look at sports. These people are getting paid literally just tens of millions of dollars to play a children's game. Just shut up and play the game.
They can't do that because, Nick, they have a forum.
Yeah.
They have a platform. Yeah. They do.
I know. They're so oppressed.
Well, they are.
Yeah.
They really are. Just listen to them.
Yep. Did you know that the term master bedroom is going away in real estate, by the way?
Yes, I did. Yes. Yep. You're a little late to the party on that one. We did that one months ago. Yeah, because that, of course, has certain negative connotations from a racial
I heard they're getting rid of Uncle Ben now.
Yes, they're getting rid of you got to start.
Uncle Ben was an actual person.
I know.
And his
Aunt Jemima was an actual person.
She came to Maine. She came to Waterville.
Fairfield.
She came to
Jiggers.
Yeah.
She came to Jiggers in Fairfield in like 1953.
Yeah.
And there was an overflow crowd. John Goodine posted a photograph
That's right.
of the appearance because that was his father-in-law's store, Charlie.
Yeah. And what I don't understand is why would you get rid of all of the imagery that actually brings warm, comforting feelings.
And that's Lionel Jigger, not Charlie. Charlie's his own
these kind of like warm, you're getting rid of all of this positive imagery.
Yeah, it's
and then what's the imagery that's left? Burning down the cities, throwing rocks through people's window?
Again,
And I don't believe that the majority of African Americans believe in this stuff. Again, you go down into Chicago, when they're interviewing the African Americans there, your average person on the street, they want President Trump to send in federal troops to stop the killing, to stop the killing of their children.
They want law and order. It is nonsensical to not want it.
Yeah.
It is against everything that we as people, not as Americans as much, but just people innately, instinctively want law and order. I don't care where they're living, even if they're living in a place that is the complete opposite, the antithesis of law and order, they beg inside for law and order. So they absolutely want it. And somehow this movement has been overthrown or has been powered by to what I think is the few and the minority who have been able to further their cause and somehow win over. Of course, Bill Burr did it in the SNL monologue where he talked about white women complaining and whining in their SUVs with heated seats. This is literally what we've got here. They have won people over. The lack of substance is truly unbelievable. There's just nothing behind it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is your segment.
No, it's our segment. No, I agree. I mean, but you know what? I went to the grocery store over the weekend, and I think there was only one other person in there without a mask, and that's when I realized, man, we are. My favorite, though, and I'm not. I realize these are loosely connected things that we're talking about here, but I'm just showing, when the majority, and I have people come up to me all the time and tell me they hate the mask, but they're just doing it because they're afraid someone might say something to them or what somebody might think about them. It's no wonder we've allowed this small vocal minority, which was always a tactic of the Bolsheviks back when they hijacked Russia, was to have the right people planted at the right places saying the right things to make it appear like they're a majority. They tried to do that with the recall in my election in Waterville, where they came out and they did a good job on the front end, making it appear like basically the entire city was outraged and this was just a majority faction that wanted me gone, and were so outraged by my social media. And what we proved was that over that about a quarter of the signatures that they had to gather, which were all gathered by paid people from the Maine Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, and other campaigns, and radical leftist groups, actually did come into Waterville. They were the ones who had to get the signature. Over a quarter of the signatures came from Colby College students. And when it came time to actually vote, they were wrong.
And we're all better for it.
Yeah. But you've got to stand up. You can never cave to these people.
If you cave, if you apologize, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Got to fight back. He's Waterville Mayor Nick Isgo. It's Mondays with the Mayor. It is Columbus Day, of course. More on Columbus Day. We'll get to some other things, including President Trump. More on the corona. You can text us if you have a question, comment, criticism, anything.
Please do.
441-6969. We certainly invite anything you have to say. 441-6969. We'll break for a real news update from CBS 13's Jeff Peterson. Also get the forecast from CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Coming up after 8, the Sensei leader Jim Bouchard and Mrs. Sensei leader Alex will be here in studio talking about a new venture they are undertaking. I'm Mike Violet on Legacy 1160, WSKW.
And Sarah Gideon for Senator Radio. Take one.
As a lifelong Mainer, I make it my...
Cut. Sarah, you were born in Rhode Island, so let's try take two, okay?
I'm Sarah Gideon, and I don't take corporate money.
Cut. Sarah, the research team says you did take corporate money, even though you tell us you don't. Let's keep going. Take three.
I'm Sarah Gideon, and on taxes...
Cut. Let's not go there. Sarah, you've tried 86 times to raise taxes and fees on everything from healthcare to heating oil to snowmobiles. So let's just move on to take four.
I'm working every day to...
Cut. You sent the legislature home 6 months ago and haven't done anything since then.
They don't need to know that.
Shut it down. Sarah, let's just toss this thing to someone who actually never stops working for Maine.
I'm Susan Collins, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senator.
I want to tell you about all of the incredible items you can find at Townline Antiques, but there's no substitute for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Now's the perfect time to shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home something to decorate a room with style, add to your collection, or share wonderful memories of your past with family and friends. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You want to get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Millionaire Sarah Gideon's tax hike would increase the price of gas and home heating oil in Maine by 40 cents a gallon. To regular Mainers, that would really hurt. Here's Dawn from Booth Bay.
The last thing I need right now is higher fuel bills. We're having a hard time as it is now. It would affect my family. Certainly would affect my friends because we're not wealthy people. With the economy, it's really bad for a lot of people here. I don't know how I would make it through. Maybe I'll have to close my house up. Sarah Gideon is a millionaire. She doesn't know what it's like to be cold and miserable. I don't feel like she's very sincere in what she says. Sarah Gideon has done nothing at all to help us. Nothing.
Say no to Sarah Gideon. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
In this election, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Maine is fighting for your voice to be heard. From preventing cuts to Social Security, to protecting Medicare, to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on the issues that matter to you. And AARP Maine is here to help. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely whether you choose to vote from home or in person. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/Maine votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/Maine votes today. Paid for by AARP.
I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. The investigation continues into two deadly motorcycle accidents over the weekend. Maine State Troopers responded to a call in Corinne around 3:30 Saturday. They say 22-year-old Jacob Murray of Belgrade was hit by a car that turned out in front of him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Second accident took place in Wayne. Maine State Troopers say a woman in her late 70s backed her vehicle into Route 133. 58-year-old Scott Evans of Livermore Falls crashed into the passenger side of the car. Evans was pronounced dead at the scene, and that crash, again, under investigation. Florida woman with disability sues 6 Maine lodging establishments. Deborah Laufer has never visited the properties. In the federal lawsuit, she described as a tester who's making sure places comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Lawsuits say the establishment booking services discriminated against her. That's because they don't give enough information on accessible rooms or accessible features. Down East Transportation is changing the schedule for several shuttles. The changes impact the Bucksport Shuttle, Bar Harbor Shuttle, and the Ellsworth Shuttle. You can find updated schedules at downeasttrains.org or at the Acadia Gateway Center. In Augusta, part of Coney Street will be closed starting at 7 o'clock this morning. The closure is from Calumet Bridge to East Side Circle. That section of the street will be closed until one lane is paved. Then workers will move to a single lane closure. Lawmakers will start the confirmation process for President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, today. Senator Susan Collins will join the announcement of a new test swab manufacturing facility right here in Maine. Puritan Medical Products is building the new facility in Pittsfield. Senator Collins will speak at the future side of the plant along with the town's mayor and Puritan officials today. The additional facility will increase the state's testing swab capabilities by millions. An update this morning on Maine's recreational marijuana industry. Businesses reported nearly $100,000 in first-day sales. 6 businesses opened for the first day of recreational sales last Friday. It resulted in over $9,000 in sales tax for Maine. The Office of Marijuana Policy says it will update sales data tomorrow. A man has been arrested in New Hampshire after allegedly putting razor blades inside pizza doughs at the Hannaford and Saco. Police say 38-year-old Nicholas Mitchell was arrested in Dover, New Hampshire yesterday. They say security footage shows Mitchell tampering with several Portland pie pizza doughs back on October 6th. A customer says they later found razor blades in the dough. Police say Mitchell is a former associate of the company that manufactures the dough. New this morning, a nonprofit announces a music relief fund. Space says it's offering $1,000 relief grants to musicians across the state. All musicians above the age of 18 can apply. Applications open Friday and close November 2nd. Sports Patriots game rescheduled for tonight with the Broncos has been moved to Sunday. It'll air at 1 p.m. on CBS 13. Meanwhile, in Sunday Night Football, Seahawks win in the final seconds over the Vikings 27-26. Lakers win the NBA title with a 106-93 win over Miami to win the series 4-2. American League Championship Series Rays over the Astros 2-1 in Game 1. I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Hello, I'm Rick Foss, District 109 candidate and motorcycle safety instructor. In the classroom, we teach our students to have an exit strategy to avoid crashing. My opponent has used that same strategy 20 times when things got tough in Augusta. Like when he didn't vote on taxpayer-funded abortion or skipped voting on Green New Deal. Though it may be a correct strategy in motorcycling, it's not the approach I'll take when tough bills come to the Capitol. When you elect me, I'll bring real leadership to the table. I'm Rick Foss. Vote for me on November 3rd, and I'll be your voice in Augusta. I'm Rick Foss, and I paid for and authorized this message.
How do you think things in Washington are going these days? No, it's not a trick question. What do you really think? As Washington has failed, Speaker of the House Sarah Gideon has helped bring Democrats and Republicans together to protect Maine people. When Washington threatened to repeal the Affordable Care Act, Sarah Gideon successfully fought to make sure 230,000 Mainers with pre-existing conditions would not lose their coverage. When Washington failed to control skyrocketing prescription drug costs, in Maine, Sarah Gideon cracked down on companies who jacked up prices. And when Washington passed trillion-dollar tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy, but raised taxes on middle-class families, Sarah Gideon wrote the first direct property tax relief bill to pass in years, working together to get things done for Mainers. That's what Sarah Gideon's always done, and that's what she'll do in the Senate.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon for Maine.
Millionaire Sarah Gideon's tax hike would increase the price of gas and home heating oil in Maine by 40 cents a gallon. To regular Mainers, that would really hurt. Here's Dawn from Booth Bay.
The last thing I need right now is higher fuel bills. We're having a hard time as it is now. It would affect my family. Certainly would affect my friends because we're not wealthy people. With the economy, it's really bad for a lot of the people here. I don't know how I would make it through. Maybe I'll have to close my house up. Sarah Gideon is a millionaire. She doesn't know what it's like to be cold and miserable. I don't feel like she's very sincere in what she says. Sarah Gideon has done nothing at all to help us. Nothing.
Say no to Sarah Gideon. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Partly sunny this morning and through the day today. It will be brightest further north with more clouds through southern Maine and New Hampshire. We'll start out in the 30s and then climb into the mid-50s for highs. Rain moves in tomorrow morning and will be with us through the day. Rain may be heavy at times with highs in the mid-50s. Mostly sunny 60s Wednesday and Thursday with more rain on Friday.
Thank you, Lexi. Partly cloudy. It's 30 in Skowhegan, 32 in Waterville. We have partly cloudy, also 32 here in Augusta. You are up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
In a state where common sense is a lost art, he's basically your father.
Didn't crawl out from under no rocks. We got no tails. We didn't come from monkeys. You atheistic pinko meat.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Good morning. It's 7:36. I'm Mike Violet. This is the Mike Violet Show. It is brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting. You can call them for any of your electrical needs, your lighting needs, any expert installations, repairs, 861-7028 online at KennebecElectric.com. You can stream us live. Go to Legacy1160.com. That's powered by the Harry J. Smith Company. Facebook Live brought to you by Moody's Collision Center. Of course, on this day in 1492, as we all know, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. And I have the cheerleader for Christopher Columbus right here, his fellow paisan, Nick Isgro. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
You trigger so many people with your Columbus stance. It's fascinating.
It is fascinating. I don't even get it. And I had a question the other day too, because people were melting down because I made a tweet about Columbus, and someone put up this, Indigenous Peoples Day thing. And here's my question about Indigenous Peoples Day, because there actually is an Indigenous Peoples Day recognized by the United Nations in August. So that's like actually a separate holiday.
Yeah, they get their own day.
Which I think if you want to have that here, fine, great, let's do it. I'm certainly not opposed to that. I don't think anybody's. I think that's the thing. Nobody's opposed that I know to having a day. I don't know that Indigenous Peoples Day. I think celebrating if you want to celebrate specifically, Native Americans, to recognize them, that would actually be a little bit better of a tactic to bring that specific culture to the forefront. Because I think Indigenous Peoples Day is a little. I don't know what the word is, but just kind of it leaves it open to interpretation. But my question is, does that mean in Europe that those people, now that they've been flooded with mass migration, are they celebrating mass migration on those days, or are they celebrating their own indigenous people? Because there is such thing as, Greeks, Romans, Saxons, Danes, Poles. These are real ethnicities, and they would be the indigenous peoples to those lands. So my question is, do they get to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day in their lands? as well?
Good question.
Or does it not count for Europeans? Do they not get to celebrate their own indigenous nature?
Friday on the show did my first segment of Contact Sports with Dean Scontris, and one of the things we talked about on Friday, politics and sports are the main themes because they're both contact sports nowadays. But my point was football, for instance, is less of a contact sport now than it's ever been, and politics is more than it's ever been. And Dean and I talked about the possibility, if it does exist, of how we can roll these things back to be what they used to be. So I want to direct that question to you when it comes to Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. We've lost ground here, those of us who favor the tradition and the history that goes along with Columbus Day. Is there any chance of rolling it back?
It starts by re-electing President Trump.
Well, that goes without saying.
It goes without saying. But, you know, if you are in the Republican Party, maybe you need to take a look. It's hard to complain. Like, I've actually stepped forward and run some pretty tough races and have been out there fighting. If consider stepping in and becoming a candidate that takes this side. I mean, it's going to be inevitable that the grifting kind of loser, weak, effete, if you will, GOP is going to die over the next several years, and we're coming now that we're facing communism head on. We're actually facing Maoist struggle sessions in the streets. Now that that's in front of us, it's inevitable that a true right-wing movement form here in the country. I don't know if that will take place within the GOP or if that's just hopeless. I don't think it is. I think there's a better chance of using the vehicle of the GOP, especially with President Trump at the head right now. I think I look at President Trump as a bridge leader, meaning he's kind of the candidate that's bridging us from the old politics into someone who will come after him, who will be a true, much more of like a Tucker Carlson type mold, a real right-wing leader in that sense. But we need a real right-wing opposition movement. And if you look at Europe, it's happening all over the place because you can only push people so far. But people need one thing that has been a disadvantage to us, specifically here in the United States on the right, is we have this built-in disadvantage where in the 1980s and 90s, the right became really thoroughly influenced by libertarianism. And libertarianism doesn't, I understand the draw and appeal. I was a Ron Paul guy for a while. We've all kind of gone through this phase. But we're in a situation now where, I'm going to use the dirty word, guys, we have to start thinking like a collective. If we don't start acting and uniting as a collective group, we are going to get steamrolled by the collective coming at us. So we need a real right-wing movement that isn't going to tell me that, when we've got, woke capital and people getting fired for their opinions, that these are the joys of liberty. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the stuff we're sick of hearing. The joys of liberty. Yelp is now going to practice economic terrorism on your business if you've ever been accused of racism by putting a special racist activity badge on your business on the site to basically destroy your life and destroy your livelihood without evidence. But that's the joys of liberty. We shouldn't use government to stop that. No, we got government. We should use all the power we have to crush this communist revolution.
Waterville Mayor Nick Isgro here. Yesterday, I went to Freeport, and the lines outside of stores, Gap, Old Navy, whatever, were unlike any. I've never seen it before. And it's the first time that I've been to Freeport since all of this started. Everybody wearing a mask. Of course, I was the only one who wasn't.
Yep.
And I didn't go into any stores. I brought somebody there to shop. I didn't partake. But there were literally 100 people waiting outside in order to get into the Old Navy store, all of them in an orderly line, all of them with their masks on, being dutiful citizens. And I thought, this is a striking moment. I had visions of Russia and communist China and other things in my head that we're all being really good citizens. Then I thought, it is October 11th, yesterday. We are a couple of months away from Christmas. Is this stuff going to end the day after the election, Nick Isgro, or are we going to have a Christmas with this pandemic? What do you think?
Well, since we have a gutless, spineless legislature here in the state of Maine that's not going to challenge, the dictator-in-chief, Janet Mills, life for us here in Maine probably is not going to change that much. Gutless legislators.
So what are we going to do? We're going to throw more money at Jeff Bezos and Amazon than ever before.
That's it. Well, that's it. That is. But I would encourage people to, now's a good time to pull your family back around. Bring your family back away from this culture that surrounds you. We have a culture now that is leading countless souls to hell, and it's leading our country straight into hell. And it is, maybe this Christmas, you don't need to have all of this consumerism. You don't need to make Christmas about stuff. You can still shop local, maybe get a couple things, but don't fill the pockets of Jeff Bezos. Do your best to maybe you just have a smaller Christmas and focus on the things that matter. Because right now, with the masks, with the social distancing, with the shutdowns, what they're trying to do to you, they're trying to break down our society. They want to take away from you everything that brings you comfort. They want to inflict on your mind a depression, a desolation, a demoralization. And so maybe the gift this Christmas that you give your family is that you start building community. You start building your own, building your own people. Get your family together, get together with your like-minded friends and family. Think about Christ when he was born with nothing. God came down from heaven and was born with absolutely nothing.
Jesus is the reason for the season.
Indeed. But whether you're religious or not, I think you can understand what's going on, and maybe now's a good time that we start to really, you have to be the change. And I know that's a cliche, but you really do. And if you're just out there in the feeding frenzy of the world, if you're out there on Black Friday, fighting people for toasters, you're part of the problem, man. You are part of the problem.
Oh, if we could just make that go away, but
let's get back to what made us great as a people, what made us great as a society and a culture. And it was a people that valued the eternal, people that valued lasting things. That's why we have all of the timeless and beautiful architecture and art and all of the things that encapsulate Western civilization. Our ancestors that, from 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, we're still looking at their statues in museums. They created beauty to last. They thought beyond themselves. We need to get that back.
Maybe you and I could begin the traditionalism party.
I like that.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, Nick Isgro -T.
Can we just make Trump the Caesar when we do that?
Sure.
Baron will be the monarch in waiting.
I decry this the way we are going as well, like you do. I have different things that bother me about everything that's going on, and you are correct. If we could somehow recapture, and we could if we wanted to, recapture that traditionalism that we had when we were kids with our parents and those kinds of things, and simplify it a lot more if we yearn to do that. And I think that's obviously where this has to begin. If you decry what is going on, if you are pissed off about Columbus Day and all of that stuff and things like that, and you are the fact that we are, whether our traditionalism movement party takes off or not, Jeff Bezos is going to get richer than ever before during the Christmas season, unless somehow, some way this comes to an end the day after Election Day. So the only way that you're going to do that is to go back in time and bring that into your life. And you actually, you can do it. It is doable, but you have to give it a little bit of effort.
You do. Look, get rid of your cable. Stop filling your ears with modern junk, garbage, pop music.
I haven't had cable in 10 years.
Exactly. You know, you listen to the filthy music that's on there that you're filling your kids' ears with, and then you wonder why your kids, you know, your daughter gets pregnant after you've been listening to nothing but, you know, music stations that talk about sex and adultery and all other kinds of disgusting things. Think about what you are consuming. You know, you are what you eat. That goes for your mind as well. It goes for your soul as well. You got to fill yourself with good things and surround yourself with good people. That makes such a difference in your life. You know, months ago when COVID hit and everyone was home, what did we hear? Oh, wow. Now my family's going for walks together again, and we're reading books again, and we're spending all this time together. Is that still going on? Ask yourself, where did that go? Are you still doing that, or are you right back to business as usual? And homeschool your kids or send them to a school like Temple, but like, please, like, honestly, we have to have an honest conversation about what's happening in public education.
Let's have a very quick, honest conversation about what's happening with the city of Waterville. Any city news that we should know about?
No, last week we delivered keys to the city to Police Chief Joe Massey and Deputy Chief Bill Bonney on behalf of both the Waterville Police Department as well as all of the volunteer angels that run Operation Hope, which is an incredible program that has proven that solving this opioid epidemic is going to start at the local level, and that it can be done. It can be done successfully on a shoestring budget. It just takes a lot of people with good hearts and goodwill to get these things going. And I think that the Waterville Police Department and the Volunteer Angels are just the greatest example of that. It's unique. I think it should be replicated all over the state and then all over the country. If it was, we could fight this epidemic, because as I said, as I handed over, it's the only time in my mayorship I've given away literal keys to the city. Yep. And, there's no riots. There's no mass protests for the deaths of those who die from opiates. There's no state funerals where nobody has to wear masks and COVID becomes extinct to show up to these funerals over these deaths. And yet, literally, every single person I know knows somebody who's been affected by this crisis. But because it is mostly rural, poor, white Americans that are being affected by this, it doesn't really fit the narrative of those whose deaths are important. And if you're really pro-life, and if you really believe that all life is precious, then you'll think about that, and maybe you can get something started in your own community. But if you want to contact Deputy Chief Bill Bonney or Chief Joe Massey, I'm sure they'd be happy to talk to you about their program, Operation Hope, and help you get started in your own community to help turn this thing around.
It is a scourge. It really is. Yeah. It is a cancer, a blight on society, and the long-term effects and the consistency of the effect of opioid epidemic addiction is far greater to me than COVID-19. Far greater.
Absolutely.
The lasting power here, is far greater for the opioid addiction than any coronavirus you can ever come up with.
And we haven't shut down our entire society because of it.
No, we haven't. And yes, we were all on board with this at first because it was a fear of the unknown. Mm-hmm. We've all, I think, studied up on things. We've gotten a lot more educated in the last 6 to 7 months about this and about where we're headed with it and about what it's been used for. And that is the unfortunate aspect of this entire thing, is that it has in many ways taken our eyes off the ball.
Yeah, no doubt. I think we've all learned a lot about ourselves and how we would react to things. I certainly acted in a way on the front end that I would never again. I've learned a lot.
I remember you.
And in fact, when the Waterville City Council, when we had a discussion about emergency powers just a couple of weeks ago, they wanted to kind of bolster the role of the mayor there. And I said, no. I said, to be honest with you, looking back now, I would never, ever, ever want to give myself the authority that I had wished I had back then.
Yeah.
Nope.
Good.
Don't.
Good.
You have to be willing to admit that.
Yeah, you do. It's too bad we don't have a governor who will admit that. So we're going to have the beginning of 4 days of hearings in Washington today for ACB. Amy Coney Barrett. I wish the Republicans had just told the Democrats, screw you. We're just going to take this to the floor for the vote. Why didn't the Republicans do that?
Yeah,
Because
look,
they're wussies?
They should come out today and have 2 votes in one day. One, just get the president's $1,200 Trump buck stimulus checks out, clean package to the American public, confirm the judge, be done with it. That's how you get things done. That's how you fight the left. But as we often talk about, the mainstream establishment GOP is either confused and weak, or they specifically just don't want Trump to win.
Confused. I'm going with confused and weak, and they don't want Trump to win.
Yeah.
All of the above. Waterville Mayor Nick Israel, Mondays with the Mayor. Nick, happy Columbus Day.
Yes, sir. You too.
See you next week.
Yep.
All right, there he is. Just keeping the seat warm for the Sensei leader and Mrs. Sensei leader, Jim Bouchard and wife Alex are here. They'll be in next. I'm Mike Violet. This is Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Hi, this is Kim, Scott Searway's daughter. I am so proud of my dad. He has spent his whole life working on behalf of others, stepping up to help people in any way he can. During his law enforcement career and his time in the legislature, he has always worked to build a stronger community, going out of his way to figure out how he can provide people with a hand up to improve their lives. He is a dedicated family man, a community member, and just who we need representing us in the state Senate.
Thank you, Kim. I'm running for re-election this year so I can keep working hard for all of you in this community I care so much about. Having spent nearly 3 decades in law enforcement, keeping our communities safe and supporting our first responders are among my top priorities. I know COVID-19 has impacted all of us, and I'm committed to reviving Maine jobs and livelihoods. I'm Senator Scott Searway, and it would be an honor to have your vote this year.
Paid for and authorized by Searway for Senate, Allen Rowe Treasurer.
Feeling cooped up? Tired of looking at the same old stuff day after day? Now that we can finally get out and do a little shopping, why not head over to Town Line Antiques? At Town Line Antiques, there's 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. They've got vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and a lot more. Get away from it all with a look to the past. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday, 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
This is Mark Andre for State House. Ask my opponent Colleen Madigan her opinion, and she'll consult a political poll to find out. Her agenda is always hidden. In 2018, Madigan promised to make life more affordable in Waterville and Oakland. She failed. She promised to fully restore revenue sharing to lower taxes, then approved a budget that didn't. Even worse, she co-sponsored a bill to raise gasoline and heating oil prices an estimated 40 cents per gallon, a bill that would have devastated our most vulnerable residents living on fixed incomes. When push comes to shove, Madigan's loyalties will always lie with a far-left agenda and a vote mining scheme that produces nearly 1,000 Colby student voters for her campaign each election. She could never win without it. I'm Mark Andre, Waterville and Oakland residents' choice for State House. I will work to immediately reopen our state and to make Maine life more affordable for all our residents. I'm Mark Andre, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Mark Andre for State House.
Hi, it's Joey Joseph from Colebrook Mitsubishi in Skowhegan. While other dealers are just scrambling around trying to drop their prices, increase their services, or offer you more money for your trade-in, Colebrook Mitsubishi has been doing that from day one. And that's precisely how we've become the #1 Mitsubishi dealer in all of New England. Whether you've been dreaming of driving a new Mitsubishi Outlander, Eclipse Cross, Outlander Sport, or Mirage, we know that you won't find anyone better to help you out. And don't forget our new Mitsubishis come with the industry's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. See us for details. If you've had credit mishaps, come see us and find out how we can help. Everyone deserves a second chance with a nicer, newer ride. Why not choose a small-town dealer with friendly folks to do business with? Small-town dealer with big-time discounts. We wish everyone good health and happiness. You can shop at our facility or online at ColebrookMitsubishi.com with great confidence. Colebrook Mitsubishi, Route 201 in Skowhegan.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is wrecked and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show. Take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers. M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your sideswipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Elizabeth Schulze. Confirmation hearings begin this morning for President Trump's nominee to the Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett. In her opening statements obtained by ABC News, she's expected to say her judicial philosophy was shaped by the late Justice Antonin Scalia. And out this morning, a new poll on the nomination and the Supreme Court from ABC News and the Washington Post.
The majority of Americans oppose the idea of packing the courts, adding more justices to the bench. They also oppose rushing this confirmation process. Senator Lindsey Graham, who is the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, says if all goes according to plan, the Republicans hope to have Barrett confirmed 1 week before the election.
ABC's Alex Prochet. President Trump saying in an interview he now thinks he's immune to coronavirus after his doctor said he was clear to travel. A campaign stop today in Florida. Hurricane Delta has proven deadly. An elderly man and an elderly woman have died in separate house fires in Louisiana. Americans Paul Milgram and Robert Wilson win the Nobel Prize for Economics. This is ABC News. A record drug bust on the southern border.
The DEA says Customs and Border Protection officers at the San Diego border seized more than 3,100 pounds of meth, fentanyl, and heroin in what amounts to the second largest meth bust in the history of the CBP. In a release, the administration says officers stopped a truck crossing the border that claimed to be carrying medical supplies, and after further inspection using a system similar to X-rays, discovered the drugs. It says the drugs would be worth about $7 million, and the 47-year-old driver was taken into custody. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
Police in downtown Portland, Oregon, declaring a riot overnight after protesters took part in what some were calling a day of rage. Windows were broken, and statues of President Abraham Lincoln and Theodore Roosevelt were pulled down. And this bull in Texas lives the line, hook 'em horns. It's now in the Guinness Book of World Records after its horns were measured at just over 8.5 feet across. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News.
How do smart, hard-working roofing contractors run jobs smoothly, even remotely? They save time with Beacon. The Beacon Pro Plus app features simple online ordering and bill pay. Choose products like the new GAF Timberline HDZ shingles with a 600% larger strike zone nailing area for faster, more accurate installations. Pick the style, color, and quantity and let the app order for you. With Beacon Pro Plus, order round the clock from anywhere. Work smarter. Download the free app at beaconproplus.com.
It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That means you can get up to a $25 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of your Superstart battery. Return power, performance, and reliability to your car, truck, motorcycle, and more with Superstart batteries. Only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. The investigation continues into two deadly motorcycle accidents over the weekend. Maine State Troopers responded to a call in Corinna around 3:30 Saturday. They say 22-year-old Jacob Murray of Belgrade was hit by a car that turned out in front of him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Second accident took place in Wayne. Maine State Troopers say a woman in her late 70s backed her vehicle into Route 133. 58-year-old Scott Evans of Livermore Falls crashed into the passenger side of the car. Evans was pronounced dead at the scene, and that crash, again, under investigation. Florida woman with disability sues 6 Maine lodging establishments. Deborah Laufer has never visited the properties. In the federal lawsuit, she described as a tester who's making sure places comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Lawsuits say the establishment booking services discriminated against her. That's because they don't give enough information on accessible rooms or accessible features. Down East Transportation is changing the schedule for several shuttles. The changes impact the Bucksport Shuttle, Bar Harbor Shuttle, and the Ellsworth Shuttle. You can find updated schedules at downeasttrains.org or at the Acadia Gateway Center. In Augusta, part of Coney Street will be closed starting at 7 o'clock this morning. The closure is from Calumet Bridge to East Side Circle. That section of the street will be closed until one lane is paved. Then workers will move to a single lane closure. Lawmakers will start the confirmation process for President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, today. Senator Susan Collins will join the announcement of a new test swab manufacturing facility right here in Maine. Puritan Medical Products is building the new facility in Pittsfield. Senator Collins will speak at the future side of the plan along with the town's mayor and Puritan officials today. The additional facility will increase the state's testing swab capabilities by millions. An update this morning on Maine's recreational marijuana industry. Businesses reported nearly $100,000 in first-day sales. 6 businesses opened for the first day of recreational sales last Friday. It resulted in over $9,000 in sales tax for Maine. The Office of Marijuana Policy says it will update sales data tomorrow. A man has been arrested in New Hampshire after allegedly putting razor blades inside pizza doughs at the Hannaford and Saco. Police say 38-year-old Nicholas Mitchell was arrested in Dover, New Hampshire yesterday. They say security footage shows Mitchell tampering with several Portland pie pizza doughs back on October 6th. A customer says they later found razor blades in the dough. Police say Mitchell is a former associate of the company who manufactures the dough. New this morning, a nonprofit announces a music relief fund. Space says it's offering $1,000 relief grants to musicians across the state. All musicians above the age of 18 can apply. Applications open Friday and close November 2nd. Sports Patriots game rescheduled for tonight with the Broncos has been moved to Sunday. It'll air at 1 p.m. on CBS 13. Meanwhile, in Sunday Night Football, Seahawks win in the final seconds over the Vikings 27-26. Lakers win the NBA title with a 106-93 win over Miami to win the series 4-2. American League Championship Series Rays over the Astros 2-1 in Game 1. I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Are you feeling cooped up? Tired of looking at the same old stuff at home day after day? Well, now that we can finally get out and do a little bit of shopping, why not head over to Town Line Antiques? At Town Line Antiques, you'll find 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. They've got vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and much, much more. So get away from it all with a look to the past. At Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5 on Route 201 right on the Winslow-Vassarboro Town Line.
In this election, the health and financial security of voters over 50 are on the line. That's why AARP Maine is fighting for your voice to be heard. From preventing cuts to Social Security, to protecting Medicare, to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on the issues that matter to you. And AARP Maine is here to help. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely whether you choose to vote from home or in person. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/Maine Votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/Maine Votes today. Paid for by AARP.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Partly sunny this morning and through the day today. It will be brightest further north with more clouds through southern Maine and New Hampshire. We'll start out in the 30s and then climb into the mid-50s for highs. Rain moves in tomorrow morning and will be with us through the day. Rain may be heavy at times with highs in the mid-50s. Mostly sunny 60s Wednesday and Thursday with more rain on Friday.
Thank you, Lexi. Partly cloudy 31 in Skowhegan, 33 in Waterville, partly cloudy 35 in Augusta. That's the deal. You're up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
His mediocre high school academic achievements have prepared him nicely for a career in radio.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WKW.
A pleasant good morning. Happy Columbus Day. 8:09, Monday, October 12th, 2020. The Mike Violet Show in progress, brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting, 861-7028. Online, KennebecElectric.com. We're online. Go to Legacy1160.com. You can listen live there. That's brought to you by the Harry J. Smith Company in Waterville. Facebook Live on the John James page. On my page, on the Legacy page, that is brought to you by Moody's Collision Centers. We have had the Sensei leader, Jim Bouchard, on the show many times. Not only do we have him on the show today, we have his boss on the program today.
That's a good way to say it.
As well,
There
Jim
you
and
go.
Alex are here. Jim Bouchard. Do we want to call you Alex, or we want to call you your full name?
I am the power behind the throne. That's my official title. Yeah.
Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the power behind the throne. And is he on the throne?
I'm keeping my mouth shut today.
Is he on the throne? Jim
Well, I
Bouchard.
was a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I know, guys. Good morning, and we cleaned it just for you guys this morning. Great to see you. How are
Appreciate
you?
that.
We're good. We're good.
You guys, you're married. How long have you been married?
You want to? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no.
Can you answer that question?
No, I cannot answer.
Oh
that
my
question.
God! No,
like most 60-year-old guys, I can't answer.
You'd never know how long we've been married anyway. Don't be waving that one. Yeah, no, we're going to be married 25 years next year. Next year.
Here, what's 25? Silver?
Yeah.
Is it?
Here is we're on the cusp. Is that a flight deck hat?
It is.
It's my favorite brewery. Seriously.
There you go.
I'm very ADD apparently. Yeah, I have like three shirts there, and we were there just last week.
Actually, this was your hat, Mike.
Yeah.
I saw you were drinking it. I came in after you, and you left it on the table, so I just grabbed it.
If it were my hat, believe me, it would come down over your nose.
There you go.
'Cause I forget what. Here we are on the cusp of your silver anniversary to this dear woman, and you don't know how many years you've been married.
I've never
He's
known.
never
I don't
known.
know
He has no
birthdays. I
idea.
don't know
He doesn't know what his own birthday is half the
I don't
time.
know what day of the week.
I mean,
it is.
it's easy. You were. When's your anniversary, Alex?
August 31st.
Okay, so you get married in
I do know that
96.
part.
Right. Ooh, way to pull that one out of the
Ooh.
gate there, Mike.
Simple math.
Yeah.
Somebody paid attention in math class.
Simple math has not escaped me
Look
yet.
at the big brain on Brad.
We get any deeper than that with the math, I'm in serious trouble.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I haven't been married now in 10 years. I still remember when my wedding anniversary was. A dark day indeed, but nonetheless, I know when my anniversary was,
Now
and I
you
know
have-
what year I got married.
Yeah.
Now you have 2 anniversaries to celebrate.
Anyway,
There you go.
You're the sensei leader. What are you, Alex?
Well,
aside from the power
Right.
behind the
Yeah.
throne?
Well, before the whole COVID thing happened, my main job was to pimp Jim out for conferences
Right.
and for corporate events, and
Right.
and then my
Radio
side,
appearances.
Yeah, and my side hustle was a speakers bureau, so I represented other people in addition to Jim. You know, and now that COVID has taken a crap on all of us, we kind of shifted.
Such a gentle, delicate
Hey,
way
look,
of putting
this is clean for me. I've got
Okay.
the New York potty
I
mouth,
love
and
it.
I'm
I
not
love
doing
it.
it there today. But no, we shifted
Told you
into
you were
a
in for trouble. There.
we went into a completely different project this year that happened organically, and it's called the Big 60, and
Right.
that came about on a golf course at Mirror Creek is really how that
Many good ideas
whole
have
thing
come
started, right?
as because of an appearance on the golf course.
Yeah, so I'll let you
after
kind of
a couple of Kevin's portable cocktails there.
yeah. But do you remember the conversation that sparked it? or-
Which you'd be partaking of if you didn't go and mess up your ankle.
Right,
I know.
Yeah.
So that's we'll pay off that debt next year when I'm hopefully healed.
There
Hopefully
you
one
go.
of my feet will actually work by that time. So when I was and of course I want to make this all about me now.
Good.
Because that's the way I am. When I was made an what was I made?
Old badass.
Old badass.
Yeah.
You were the
An
first
OBA, yeah.
OBA Hall of Fame member.
Yes, I am now in the Old Badass Hall of Fame.
That's
Was
right.
that as a result of the Big 60 stuff?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right. So the Big 60 came about how?
Well,
Because
actually,
of
yeah.
the other things that you just mentioned, you couldn't do those anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you know, again, we're going to do a movie quote, right? Get busy living or get busy dying.
Shawshank Redemption.
Right?
You got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So many people are out there wondering, what the heck do you do? I mean, a lot of people have been affected by this COVID. A lot of people our age, they're losing businesses. We talked about that last time, losing businesses, losing homes, having to hit the reset button. So fortunately, this is our background. We've been in broadcast and performance of some type all along, but yeah, we looked at the demographics and say who needs what really is where we started. And it turns out that those of us who are turning 60 and plus are the fastest growing demographic in the whole country, if not in the whole world, right?
Well, you and I are in that club. You can't.
I know it.
Oh, yes. I love you, but no.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'm going to be turning 60 next August.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, close
So what
enough
could-
for
yeah.
close
Right.
enough for
That's right.
AM radio,
Right,
as we
right,
like to
yeah.
say. So turning 60 is interesting. I'm not sure if it presented me with a whole set of new problems, but
we're not looking just at problems, all right? This is the beginning, not
no,
the end.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you're right, and that's the point here is
Yeah.
that I should not look at it that way, nor should I present it on the air that way, because it's much more than that.
Well, but I do
there
have
are
to say,
problems.
well, yeah, I was going to say seriously though.
Not to minimize my problems,
No,
mind you.
but the way this whole thing started, I think, is you were golfing with, I don't know, was it Mike Helmo and a couple of other
I don't
people?
remember.
Well, anyway, the whole subject of nose hair came up,
Oh, that's right.
and how, you at 60 as a guy, I'm not in that club, but I mean that you have hair coming out of your
You got a
nose,
See, me,
flashlight? We'll
it's
find
ear
out.
out of your ears,
Ear
yeah,
hair.
Nose hair, I'm good.
eyebrows, all of that
It's
sort of stuff.
ear hair for
Yeah.
me.
So that became a big joke. And then we
Right.
were talking, as that evolved, we found that there's all kinds of things that start to happen
We
when you
start
get to
looking
be
like
this
that.
age.
Did the subject of my prostate come up?
No, we haven't gotten
Well,
to the prostate thing yet. We
There's
can.
an episode.
That's an
right there.
episode right there.
All
Yeah.
right, Mike, you're on
Yeah.
that episode. We're going to do a whole episode just
Just
about
on
you and your
prostate.
prostate.
Just on Mike's prostate.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's a lifetime miniseries right there.
Because we should mention that it's the Big 60.life. And
Yeah.
it's really a YouTube. Well, it's more than this now. It's a YouTube channel. We're also launching an online magazine, and there's a blog and all
Our
kinds of
store
cool
with
things.
all our merch on it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
probably the biggest thing that we've just started working on right now is that everybody that we know is dealing with aging parents
Mom and Dad again for the-
in some form,
Yeah.
whether they're either already kind of in the middle of that journey, caretaking, trying to help, navigate all of that, or they're just beginning to get into all of it. I'm personally I'm like smack in the middle of it right now. And everybody I talk to is, oh my God, I'm going through the same thing.
to some degree.
Yeah. So we found that, it can be really challenging to try and figure out how to navigate all of that on your own. So we're putting together a course and a series of live streams and an online community just to kind of provide resources and to provide help for people that are going through all of that.
How to plan, how to have the
plan.
conversation.
You must have
right?
really struck a nerve, because it's
Mhm.
amazing. As I look around, people my age, there are many people who are 60 or thereabouts are members of two groups. They're members of the group of, I have elderly parents
Mhm.
that need some sort of help, care,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yep.
And I'm also becoming a grandparent at the same time.
Yeah.
Their kids are having kids. I'm actually not a member of either group, because I'm the most fortunate man in America, because my father at 96
Is the
is
king.
alive,
Yeah.
well,
And really
and,
active.
And
complete-
awesome.
completely
Yeah.
lives by
Yeah.
himself.
Right.
I just go hang out with him. So there's
Mhm.
nothing there. My kids haven't had kids yet, so I don't have grandkids yet that I can spoil. But that's kind of the majority
Yeah.
of the two groups that people turning 60 are in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. And we found that, again, so much of this you can be just sort of stuck in this quagmire of, oh, I've got to deal with this. And, I'm worried about my mom being by herself, and she doesn't have a hearing aid. And should I go
Doesn't
for,
want a hearing
yeah,
aid.
should I go for in-home care or assisted living? Mom doesn't want to have the conversation about all of these things, and she's refusing help. And where do I go? And what do I do? And it can be really, really overwhelming.
But
So
we're also having a pretty good time with it. That's the
yeah,
thing,
well,
too.
you have
It's
to have a
very-
sense of humor
right,
about
very
it.
serious
That was
about
the other thing that we
Yeah.
really changed with it too, is because so much of this stuff, and this is kind of all about the whole channel itself, is when you talk about people turning 60, and we Googled a lot of the things that come up for that, and they're either condescending, boring,
patronizing,
or depressing, because they don't speak to the things that we're all going through in the voice that we use.
Or saccharine sweet, right? You know?
Right. With the
we
sad
understand.
piano in the background. Yeah, it's terrible that your parents are
We don't
going
talk
through
like that when we're talking
We
about
all
60,
know.
right?
No.
You know, they
Yeah.
go like, my parents are driving me crazy. How can I do this? Oh
What'd
my
you just
God.
say about your ankle, right? I mean,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's let's approach these from a real perspective and hopefully have keep a sense of humor through all of this, and for the good things that are positive we can embrace them, and the things that are a challenge you still have to have a sense of humor about
which is the
those
other
things.
part of it, because we do a lot of stuff that's lifestyle,
Right,
and activities, because hey, refuse to age
gracefully. That's our
right?
tag.
I mean,
Refuse to age gracefully.
Yeah, that's the way to go. So, Jim, give us the technical details of where they find everything on YouTube.
So simple. The Big 60 numbers, right?
Yep.
660. The
Just
Big 60.
type that in the search area.
Yep. Dot life.
The Big 60 dot life.
Right. And so a bunch of videos are going to come up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And are you doing new stuff? How often?
Well, we're going to go to bed this week.
Yeah, we are.
Well, is it?
Yeah, it's going to be.
I can't wait to hear about that.
This is
sex at 60
is sex
boring?
after 60 boring?
Doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to
We're
be.
gonna. That's it.
We're gonna go
watch-
there.
Watch for the new video. This week.
Watch.
Yeah, we're gonna go there this week. Yeah.
Okay.
Not for children.
Yeah.
That's all we're gonna say right now.
Well, I can't imagine anybody would, under the age of, 50 something, would be really interested in that. But, everybody has a little voyeurism streak in them. So, so it's fascinating how this thing that we've all been going through spawns and has spawned so many different ideas. People have gotten very inventive, very creative, because they've had to. Necessity is the mother of invention, and you guys certainly fall into the category with that. But I mean, many people and many groups and many whatever through time have come up with self-help stuff about how to help your parents when they get old and such.
Yeah.
But this is definitely different than that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it needed to be. I mean, and that's not putting any. There's great resources out there, and we're putting a lot of them together in one place. But yeah, like I said, the biggest thing is let's approach it with a sense of humor, for God's sake. Because for instance, let's pick on you, Mike.
Sure.
What was it?
Wouldn't be the first time.
Again, right? Every time I come here. What was the biggest realization or revelation you had, getting towards 60 or when you hit it? I mean,
well, I was never fearful of quote getting old. I'm turning 50, like a lot of people's like, oh my God, I didn't bother me. Turning 60 didn't bother me. I think it's as I look back on my life, maybe some of the things I wish I had done that maybe I'm going to try to do.
Hey,
maybe especially now that even despite these injuries, I'm a little healthier, at least inside anyway. Because I've already done the heart attack thing, the other stuff.
You know what it feels like, so why not go for it? Right?
Exactly. I think of, wow, I do have a 96-year-old father and a 36-year-old child.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of, there are times when I think of that. In that moment, I'm old, but then I come back and do my show, and I'm back into the mind of a 13-year-old juvenile delinquent.
Yeah.
And I easily slide into that role. So I don't know if I'm typical of this, guys.
No,
you absolutely are.
You're driving a point home.
I think the generation that I grew up in the 60s and 70s, it's far easier for me and us to stay kind of that immature juvenile kid, junior high school kid that I always was, than it was for my dad to do it 50, 60 years ago, that's just because of the generational difference. But I'm not sitting around here. The only thing I'm worried about, I'll tell you this, is I read right after I had my heart attack, I think it was a magazine article that was in the hospital of some fella who was in his 60s, who was a big guy and who weighed over 300 pounds. And the doctor said to him, do you know why you never see any 70-year-old guys over 300 pounds? And the guy's like, no, because they're all dead. They all die. And so
that's a cheery way to look at it.
Well, because I was over, so that hit home with me.
Yeah.
So that's the context I guess I'm in, is that, geez, I need to keep my weight down or I'm not going to make 65.
Well, that's it, right? You
or
accept
70
it, it inspires you, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, the point, the heart attack, you do develop some mortality. It does. It's a whole lot different than just turning 60. that affected me far more than actually turning 60.
Sure.
60,
yeah.
you've turned no matter what, right?
There
You've
was a
turned the
certain
corner.
amount of helplessness
Yeah.
there
Mhm.
that turning
Yeah.
60 is nothing.
Right.
Compared to the
Yeah.
helplessness of Jesus H. Christ, I had a heart attack.
This is why we put Mike in the OBA Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really.
But you also you actually totally defined the absolute person.
That's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly. Is because it's the refuse to age gracefully idea. Yeah, we're all turning 60, but we feel like we're 17.
I will
inside,
tell you this. Saturday, I rode my motorcycle from Portland up to Boothbay
Yeah.
Harbor to put it away.
With your ankle.
to put
Rock
it-
on.
right?
Yeah.
I took my boot off to put it away for the winter. So Velma's been put away for the winter. But
Velma.
that hour and 10 minutes that I was on that motorcycle at age 60, I felt like I was 17.
Yeah.
And of course, I got it up to 90, a little bit more.
Isn't there a website to report you for that?
So I felt incredibly young there. So that's another thing that I did about 5 years ago was get a bike again.
Yeah.
Because it made me, because some of the best times of my life was when whatever, when I was in my teens, even before that, because I grew up on two wheels and a motor.
Yeah.
And it made me, so you call it a late life crisis or whatever.
No,
but
it's you can still do it. You still enjoy it. So why the hell not is basically the idea.
And you can do some things you never got the
right.
chance to,
Exactly.
right,
That was one of the things that we found. Again, was another reason we launched this is because we were looking for things to do when you're 60. And you can't believe some of the suggestions that come up.
Board
Like
games.
join a book club. Go to an arboretum. Go to a town
And this was
hall meeting.
consistent.
Yeah, I
Over
mean,
and over. go to a town hall.
go to a
meeting.
town
It's
hall-
not
town hall
I'm
meeting.
not discouraging participation.
But I mean, but for card games, for example, they were saying Yahtzee and Parcheesi and things like we play, Cards Against Humanity. I mean, that's
yeah.
that's
you
where
gotta
we go.
come down for one of those.
Yeah.
Well, so right after you do the one on the sex after 60, we can do a strip poker.
There you go.
All right, you guys.
That would be frightening.
Jim and Alex, you sit tight. What's the website again, Jim, on YouTube? What's the number?
The
Big60.life.
All right.
Oh, you did that unison.
The Big60.life. Go to YouTube. You can see Jim and Alex there talking about life after 60 and such. It's all fun and games if you make it that way. We got a break here for news. We'll do that. Come back with Jim and Alex on the other side. I'm Mike Violet. It's 8:26. It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Road to the White House. A busy week for President Trump starting tonight. ABC's Rachel Scott.
In Florida, holding a rally at an airport hangar. Before he tested positive for the virus, he was packing in those events. A Trump campaign official tells me the president's supporters will be instructed to wear a face mask. They will be handing them out. Sources tell us he is expected to be out every single day this week, but he has a lot of ground to cover, and he's behind 12 points in our latest ABC News poll.
Joe Biden has in-person events in Toledo and Cincinnati, Ohio today, the latter a voter mobilization effort. ABC's Jonathan Karl says Supreme Court confirmation hearings probably won't distract from this campaign issue.
The main story, the story of the moment, is the pandemic, the outbreak at the White House, and the outbreak across much of the country, where several states now experiencing record highs in terms of coronavirus infections and also hospitalizations, the death rate rising. There's really no distracting from that, even a battle over a controversial Supreme Court pick.
Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
In 2013, we opened the Portland Hutton Alpine Club.
We're a small bar and restaurant. We have a dozen employees.
When the pandemic forced us to close, we went from being open 7 days a week to literally one day making nothing and dealing with months of having zero revenue for our business at all. We needed a PPP small business loan to keep our employees and just to keep our business.
We feel the responsibility of a dozen employees' livelihoods, their food, their shelter, their families. But Susan Collins wrote a loophole to let corporate chains take the small business loan, and Mitch McConnell included it in the law.
Big corporate chains scarfed up the money before most small businesses like ours had a chance. We feel totally abandoned by her.
They were supposed to be looking out for us.
Susan Collins and Mitch McConnell were just looking out for their big corporate donors and not Mainers.
Change Now is responsible for the content of this ad, paid for by Change Now. Make changenow.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Hi, this is Kim, Scott Searway's daughter. I am so proud of my dad. He has spent his whole life working on behalf of others, stepping up to help people in any way he can. During his law enforcement career and his time in the legislature, he has always worked to build a stronger community, going out of his way to figure out how he can provide people with a hand up to improve their lives. He is a dedicated family man, a community member, and just who we need representing us in the state Senate.
Thank you, Kim. I'm running for re-election this year so I can keep working hard for all of you in this community I care so much about. Having spent nearly 3 decades in law enforcement, keeping our communities safe and supporting our first responders are among my top priorities. I know COVID-19 has impacted all of us, and I'm committed to reviving Maine jobs and livelihoods. I'm Senator Scott Searway, and it would be an honor to have your vote this year.
Paid for and authorized by COA for Senate, Alan Rowe, Treasurer.
Our Medicare supplement and drug coverage is so expensive, we're barely keeping up with our bills.
My husband and I were in the same situation. So I got some help from the Senior Planning Center. They were able to show us some high-quality Medicare Advantage plans that saved us a lot of money.
The Senior Planning Center? Tell me more.
They have helpful agents all over the state. Real Mainers helping Mainers. Give them a call at 778-6565. The Senior Planning Center. They were there to help when it mattered most. I'm glad I called them. You'll be glad too.
I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson with a news update on Legacy 1160 WSKW. The investigation continues into 2 deadly motorcycle accidents over the weekend. Maine State Troopers responded to a call in Corinna around 3:30 Saturday. They say 22-year-old Jacob Murray of Belgrade was hit by a car that turned out in front of him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Second accident took place in Wayne. Maine State Troopers say a woman in her late 70s backed her vehicle into Route 133. 58-year-old Scott Evans of Livermore Falls crashed into the passenger side of the car. Evans was pronounced dead at the scene, and that crash, again, under investigation. Florida woman with disabilities sues 6 Maine lodging establishments. Deborah Laufer has never visited the properties. In the federal lawsuit, she described as a tester who's making sure places comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Lawsuits say the establishment booking services discriminated against her. That's because they don't give enough information on accessible rooms or accessible features. Down East Transportation is changing the schedule for several shuttles. The changes impact the Bucksport Shuttle, Bar Harbor Shuttle, and the Ellsworth Shuttle. You can find updated schedules at downeasttrains.org or at the Acadia Gateway Center. In Augusta, part of Coney Street will be closed starting at 7 o'clock this morning. The closure is from Calumet Bridge to East Side Circle. That section of the street will be closed until one lane is paved. Then workers will move to a single lane closure. Lawmakers will start the confirmation process for President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, today. Senator Susan Collins will join the announcement of a new test swab manufacturing facility right here in Maine. Puritan Medical Products is building the new facility in Pittsfield. Senator Collins will speak at the future side of the plant along with the town's mayor and Puritan officials today. The additional facility will increase the state's testing swab capabilities by millions. An update this morning on Maine's recreational marijuana industry. Businesses reported nearly $100,000 in first-day sales. 6 businesses opened for the first day of recreational sales last Friday. It resulted in over $9,000 in sales tax for Maine. The Office of Marijuana Policy says it will update sales data tomorrow. A man has been arrested in New Hampshire after allegedly putting razor blades inside pizza doughs at the Hannaford and Saco. Police say 38-year-old Nicholas Mitchell was arrested in Dover, New Hampshire yesterday. They say security footage shows Mitchell tampering with several Portland pie pizza doughs back on October 6th. A customer says they later found razor blades in the dough. Police say Mitchell is a former associate of the company who manufactures the dough. New this morning, a nonprofit announces a music relief fund. Space says it's offering $1,000 relief grants to musicians across the state. All musicians above the age of 18 can apply. Applications open Friday and close November 2nd. Sports Patriots game rescheduled for tonight with the Broncos has been moved to Sunday. It'll air at 1 p.m. on CBS 13. Meanwhile, in Sunday Night Football, Seahawks win in the final seconds over the Vikings 27-26. Lakers win the NBA title with a 106-93 win over Miami to win the series 4-2. American League Championship Series Rays over the Astros 2-1 in Game 1. I'm CBS 13's Jeff Peterson on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Hi, my name is Tony Esposito from Rockland Ford, and we want to buy your car. An unexpected situation created by this pandemic is that there is a nationwide shortage of inventory. Now, what does this mean for you? This means that the vehicle you own has never been worth more. In some cases, your vehicle is worth retail book value. I have never seen anything like it. So, if you need some extra cash or a lower payment, there has truly never been a better time to sell or trade your vehicle. If I was a consumer, I would sell high on my trade while buying low and cashing in on 0% interest and manufacturer's rebates. This is not a gimmick. This is real talk. Don't wait. Call us at 594-4466 today for a free purchase offer, or visit us at rocklandford.com.
This is Bill Green. Growing up in Maine, I've always been proud of our senators on both sides of the aisle. And I'm especially proud to know Susan Collins. In times of crisis, she's displayed courage and integrity, whether it was reforming our intelligence community after 9/11 or fighting the pandemic today. Susan is a problem solver. She's at the center of nearly every common sense solution that makes our government work better. And while Susan hasn't changed, politics sadly has. This year, Mainers have suffered through the most expensive negative campaign in our history, with $40 million being spent by out-of-state groups trying to buy our vote. We know Susan, and we know what they're saying just isn't true. So don't let out-of-state bullies with big checkbooks buy Maine's Senate seat. This is Bill Green. I trust Susan Collins because she is from, of, and for the people of Maine, always.
I'm Susan Collins, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Collins for Senator.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Partly sunny this morning and through the day today. It will be brightest further north with more clouds through southern Maine and New Hampshire. We'll start out in the 30s and then climb into the mid-50s for highs. Rain moves in tomorrow morning and will be with us through the day. Rain may be heavy at times with highs in the mid-50s. Mostly sunny 60s Wednesday and Thursday with more rain on Friday.
Partly cloudy. It's 32 in Skowhegan, 34 in Waterville. Partly cloudy as well here in Augusta, 35 degrees. And that's the deal. You're up to date from Maine's Heritage Station, Legacy 1160 WSKW.
It's like your father is on the radio every day.
When I was 17, I drank some very good beer. I drank some very good beer I purchased with a fake ID. My name was Brian McKee.
It's the Mike Violet Show on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Good morning. Happy Columbus Day. It's 8:36 on October 12th, 2020. The show brought to you by Kennebec Electric and Lighting, 861-7028, online, KennebecElectric.com. You can Facebook Live us, facebook.com/Legacy1160 WSKW. That's brought to you by Moody's Collision Centers. And, of course, you can stream the show as well on your mobile device, your PC, your tablet, your iPad. Legacy1160.com, brought to you by the Harry J. Smith Company. John James Freedom Pep Rally coming up at high noon today as the hearings begin in Washington on the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett to be the Supreme Court Justice replacement for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. John will have more on that and everything else going on from the weekend as well. 9 until noon, it's all part of 6 hours of live local talk that we do every single weekday from 6 until noon. Nobody else does it in the state of Maine, and nobody usually has on these two wacky people, Jim Bouchard and do you go by your Armstrong?
Yes, I do.
Alex,
just Alex.
Alex Armstrong
Yeah.
are here.
Yeah.
Alex is the
Alexandra.
Alexandra.
Nobody calls me Alexandra.
Nobody.
Alexandra.
Yeah. They must have when you were a child and you were misbehaving.
No.
No? Or you
No.
never misbehaved?
No, I absolutely did. But that was not my.
You were a weird little
I was
kid,
a weird little kid.
from
Yeah.
what I hear.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I went to Catholic school and never recovered, and still don't wear plaid to this day. Yeah.
Like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You wear plaid, Mike?
Like me?
You wear a plaid skirt?
I did wear a plaid tie
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I saw scars from that.
Yeah,
whole
but I
experience.
didn't
wear
go
a kilt. You look cool in a kilt.
I did not go to Catholic school. However, I was an altar boy from the time I was 6 until 18.
So were you.
And
Let's not open that can of worms.
So I did get my hands beaten by a nun with a ruler, but not in Catholic school. This was literally like in the rectory of the church.
Yeah.
For laughing, as I called it, on stage with the
Ooh.
priest who
Oops.
actually was cracking jokes, making me laugh.
Right.
I threw him under the bus, but Mother Superior still whacked my hand.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do that anymore.
That was the way. That was the way. Yeah.
All right. So you guys are launching. What's this? I'm going back to the email exchange or the messages we had. 3 live streams, the family room.
Yeah.
On the big 60.life.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
The family room is going to be an opportunity for people to connect in a live stream forum that are going through caring for aging parents. Because we realize that the connectivity piece is something that there's forums everywhere. People are, what can I do? How can I, all this kind of stuff. So we're trying to provide an opportunity for people to ask questions, to share their stories, contribute resources, all that good stuff. So we're going to do it 3 times this week. We're going to do one on Tuesday at 1:00 Eastern, one on Wednesday at 5:30 Eastern, and one on Friday morning at 9 Eastern, to give people a chance to
How do you
get in
remember
there.
all that
Because that's my job. That's my job. That's why I'm the power behind the throne. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I would guess that the response has been pretty good for this.
It's been really great.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people in this particular category.
Right. Yeah.
Who are facing all kinds of, putting your parents, and I hate even using that term.
You're going in the right direction.
It almost sounds like you're bringing the dog to be euthanized or something, putting your parents
in a home. Is that where you're going? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the realism and the phrase, I guess, that best describes it. Is there a better, softer way to do that?
Yeah, and especially because the home has become a completely different place than it was even just a few years
some
ago.
of these places are just gorgeous.
Excuse me, one of the places I'm actually looking for my mom is an assisted living community that's gorgeous. I would move in there tomorrow.
What? Remember in the old days, they used to call them rest homes too, right?
Yeah, yes. Right.
That's not what this is about.
Right.
This is about keeping people active
and engaged.
I can hear Tony Soprano right now. Mom, it's a retirement community.
Right, exactly. Exactly right. Yeah.
But you know what? Guilt is one of the biggest things that plays into that. People talk about that. And we have to say, first of all, you're going to alleviate a lot of that by starting real early. Have the conversation. One of the things we keep emphasizing is it's their life. You don't want to get to the point where you're telling them what to do.
Right. Find out what they want. Ask them what
and
they
identify
want.
the triggers. What are some of the events that are going to happen along the way that say, and if you've planned, you're going to know, you're going to say, okay, when I get to the point where I can't drive anymore and I'm living 20 miles, 30 miles away from anything, maybe that's the time that we really make the move, that type of thing.
And you can also, investigate other options. Maybe in-home care is a better option before you get to the point where assisted living becomes the best choice.
And a lot than ever, people are moving into care for their parents.
Yeah,
too,
and a lot of it has to do with finances and
fine.
family dynamics and all that kind of stuff. So there might be some options that are available to you if you have the resources for, significant in-home care. But if you don't have long-term care insurance, or your parents don't have that kind of portfolio, then that might not be an option.
But there's no wrong options.
Yeah,
people just have to sit down really and discuss it and make sure, like I said, we always talk about, you got to respect your parents' wishes.
Right.
The tough thing is that sometimes the parent is very resistant, and they really need help, but they're resistant. And Alex is making a face because that's what she's going through.
Well, I'm hearing that overwhelmingly too. That's what so many people are going through. Mom and dad are resisting help. They don't want people in their home. They don't. Yeah, right. I don't need a hearing aid. I might.
Well, hell, I'm
leave
doing
me
that
alone.
right now.
Everybody, all that, and it's really, really challenging to deal with that. Especially if you start to really notice some decline, like if the house isn't clean or mom isn't clean, and it's an uncomfortable place to be. But we're all dealing with it in some fashion. So,
but the point is too. So many people approach us. For instance, I've had to tell somebody they couldn't drive anymore. You know what I mean?
Which is
and
really
it's hard.
Yeah.
But so many times we hear, oh, let's sit down. It's very painful to try to no,
No,
that's
it
not the way
sucks.
we talk.
It sucks. Yeah,
It's hard. It sucks. And you know what? It's better afterwards if you have somebody to sit around and commiserate with and say, you know what? I went through it. You're right. It sucks. You know, let's crack a beer and
all
have
right.
fun.
You've perked up my anxiety antennas a little bit. And again, I am so fortunate that I have a father who's 96,
He's an
still
animal.
alive,
Yeah.
and he is an animal,
Yeah.
and he's
Gotta give
alive
him
and
an
well.
OVA Hall of
Right?
Fame.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
he's definitely should be in the old badass Hall of Fame. He still drives.
Mhm.
He just bought a new car not long ago.
That's awesome.
He gave up his Mercedes for a Buick.
I think that's a step
which
up.
I would have done it backwards. But anyway, he has said, and I check him about every month. I drive with him to make sure that he is
Right.
good because he's 96. He's fine. But he has said to me, he drops this from time to time. When I can't drive anymore, I want to die.
Yeah.
And so that triggers me, you know, to think all kinds of things of that day when it comes, when talk about sucking,
Yeah.
that I feel like I'm going to tell this man, this
Yeah.
is your death sentence.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
saying this now, by the way, my dad doesn't listen to the show that much, so don't worry. The king isn't listening. So that's my anxiety.
Sure. Sure.
Is that if you know the day comes when he can't drive anymore, I'm signing his death certificate.
Well, you hit it right on the head. That's part of what we
Because
need to address.
The
But
fact that
yeah.
the fact that he can simply go to Hannaford,
Mhm.
go to the post office, go get caught, that is everything to him.
Yep.
Well, see, now is the time to have the conversation. 96. I mean, he's up there, but
he's pushing it.
right. But how to have the conversation now that says what are the alternatives, so that it's a little bit more positive transition. I understand the sentiment. I would feel that way now, but to say, okay, now let's see what can we do when it's time for you not to drive, so that you don't have to feel that way, right? Now that doesn't. It softens the blow. It doesn't eliminate it, right? You
Well,
can't eliminate
but more importantly, it involves the parent in the process.
Yeah.
Instead of getting to that day where it's a crisis and saying, you know what, you can't drive anymore.
Yeah.
To have them have your dad say or your mom say, well, when I get to the point where I can't drive anymore, maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll
Right.
have this option
It's
instead.
always better when it's their idea,
decision,
right?
their idea, their decision. Yeah, as long as it can be too, because we're really blessed for the fact that my mom is not dealing with any memory impairment, and,
Yeah.
and it's a completely different journey when you're dealing with
Right.
somebody who has Alzheimer's
But
or
Mike,
dementia.
I had the opposite thing with somebody. It was a dear friend who was going through cancer, right, and wanted to drive. He was Medicaid, couldn't. I took him out for the test drive, and literally
he went over the curb.
He went over the curb. I mean, deeply over the
it
curb, and,
sucks.
and I had to sit down and say, "Look," I said, and he actually said this, and people will feel this way. I said, "What happens if you run into a telephone pole?" And he said, "I don't care if I die," and he was close at that point. Maybe a couple 3 months ahead of him. But the thing was, I said, "But how would you feel if you ran
Killed
over a
someone
child?"
else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's when he really accepted it. So it's
Right.
not it
Yeah.
sucks. It's
I mean,
not easy to do.
you don't want to be that guy or that woman who accidentally hits the accelerator instead of the brake
Yeah.
and drives through the front of the restaurant.
Yeah,
How many,
exactly.
you don't want to
Yeah.
be
Right?
them.
It's funny when no one gets hurt.
No.
It's
No.
not. It's
Right.
not when
All of
someone
the
gets
things
hurt.
we're talking about here with Jim and Alex, the Big 60 Life, go to YouTube and type that in, and you will be able to subscribe to their page. Please do so that you can follow along here. And again, when are the live streams this week, Alex?
Tomorrow at 1 p.m., Wednesday at 5:30 p.m., and Friday morning at 9 a.m.
So should people?
This is on YouTube and Facebook.
Okay, so
Yeah.
YouTube and Facebook. So
Yeah.
be aware of that. One of the weirdest things for me with at 60 and with a father who's still alive like this is as capable as he is. There are those moments where role reversal happens. I'm the parent, and
go ahead.
weirdly, he's the child in some instances. Now, again, this is very few. Again, I'm the most fortunate man to have an older parent like this.
Yeah.
But I am awkward in situations like this. My father is the epitome of an alpha dog. He has been a leader his entire life. He was the oldest child. He was the best athlete. He was the man who went to war and fought Germans hand to hand. He was the guy who came back home and built a company with his own blood and guts, and to the point where he sold it and made good money. He's been that guy. He's a leader. And now I come in and see him when I go up there. He's got a cat on his lap and he's petting. It's so weird to me.
Well,
yet it's him now.
Yeah.
But it's so. I
Go ahead,
find the
help him feel
role
better.
reversal part of it, Alex, awkward for me.
Yeah, the the parent-child thing is something that it rolls out of our mouths all the time because we feel that role reversal. But
Because they do have childish.
Yeah.
behavior
right, yeah, and
sometimes,
especially, I mean, not your dad is an anomaly because he's not pushing back, he's not acting like a child the way
No.
some parents do that refuse help and are being difficult. But at the end of the day, they're still your parents, and you're still the child,
You're never.
and you're always
your
going to
parent's
be the
parent.
child.
Yeah.
So one of the things you have to always remember is that you're not your parent's parent.
Mhm.
And as difficult as that is, and you want to say, "Don't you understand?" Oh, and that's part of what makes it so frustrating because you
Yeah.
can see the things that need to be done. You see some things that are challenging for your parent. Your heart breaks if things are really, really difficult, and but you still have to remember that they are the parent, and you are
And it's
always the
their
child,
life.
and it's their life.
Yeah.
I struggle with that.
Yeah, we all do. We all
Yeah.
do. That's part of the reason we created this whole program
Right.
because that's the comments that come in from people. I'm losing my mind. I'm dealing with this. Oh my God, how would I? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
But
hard.
I try to reel myself back into earth when I think of the friends that I have who are my age, who have parents who are, in assisted living,
Yeah.
who,
Alzheimer's.
they're losing their minds. Joe Biden comes to mind, but that's another story for another time. Where they're, talking to me about adult diapers and stuff like that, I one of my challenges, I try to get Louis to drink more water because he won't drink any water.
Yeah.
Right.
You know why he says he won't drink any water?
He doesn't want to pee.
He doesn't want to have to go to the bathroom.
Right. Yeah. No,
I'm
that's
like, Dad, you sit home all day with a cat on it. You can get up and go. This is not one long, endless car trip that we're on.
I think that happened at 50, but
That's a problem I
Right,
worry
exactly.
about.
right.
Right,
That's
you're
one of
probably
those
the
things
same
that happen.
I
You
know,
add
every-
another bathroom trip
I
for
know
yeah.
every rest stop.
Yeah, can
from
I
here to
come
Florida.
on the Big 60 Life and do a prostate segment?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Of
course.
It's on the books. We're gonna
Yeah,
do it.
that's like I'm sure being the OBA that you are and a motorcycle aficionado, you had to have seen Wild Hogs.
Of course.
Okay, so how many times do they stop to go to the bathroom?
lot.
Right? Yeah.
Now, let me say
it's a
this
thing.
disclaimer here.
Yeah.
I rode from Portland to Booth Bay Harbor Saturday without peeing once.
Wow.
I can't imagine.
Awesome.
That's over an hour on a bike.
Can't imagine.
With my prostate jiggling around and vibrating around all over the place.
Nope. Can't imagine.
Oh man. We had a meme. We found a meme that was, the last adult beverage time we did, which was a live stream, which is about.
That's our really fun life.
Yeah.
Because we should say we've been talking about something serious today, but not, 90%.
Right. And a lot of it's, you got to have a laugh about some of these things we were talking about. You hit the big 60 when, and it was all people, chiming in. There was a meme that we found that said, an all-nighter means not having to get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the
That's
night.
me.
Yeah. So, yeah.
My favorite one, though. You hit the big 60 when you watch Villages commercials all the way through.
I'm telling you, I still haven't done that. I still haven't. But it's funny. One of the things we were talking about when you were talking about things like assisted living and retirement communities and all of that, now people our age, we have Margaritaville. Jimmy Buffett put that together for people our age.
Yeah.
I'd much rather do that than Shady Acres
Concerts, golf,
exactly.
drinking.
Because we are those people, we're not
But seriously, the Villages.
who our
right?
parents were when they were 60.
Right.
What was
so-
that study that showed the Villages is one of the most sexually active communities in the
Right,
country?
yeah.
Right?
That's what you want to go.
Rock
That's
on,
such a
baby.
visual you've given
Rock
me.
on.
Jim. But do you remember when we were in our teens? I don't know if you guys ever had this conversation. You probably did with your friends. I remember having conversation with my friends. Hey, when we are 50 or 60, will we still like Aerosmith? And of course, the answer is yes.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I listened to Get Your Wings yesterday.
Right.
Don't
We made
you-
jokes about
right.
how the Rolling Stones wouldn't be, performing after age 50.
Well, don't you love
You're
the
not going to see
Where
them
Are-
anymore.
Where are they when tours, right? And you see these guys, the hair band rockers
Yeah.
out there with their guts hanging out and bald on top, but hair down to their ass.
Yep.
And it's like,
Yeah.
Love it. I love it.
Exactly. It's definitely an interesting set of challenges,
Yeah.
one that I never gave any thought to at all on the way up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that part of the issue? Is that we kind of kept it over there and we didn't think
Well-
of, because I'm not a planner.
Yeah.
I'm
I
really
totally
not. I'm
am,
not a
yeah.
forward thinker
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And so I've, you are. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people are, they're my own.
You're pointing at Alex
My own,
now.
my own kids are the plan. One of them, anyways, is a wicked planner.
Yeah.
I'm just not. So it seems like all of a sudden this has been here. Here it is.
Because I'm a planner for certain things, but I'm right there with you on that because, I
Sneaks up on us.
I still feel physically like I'm in my 20s. You know, I mean, I just do.
Lucky you.
Well, no, I do because I you know, I'm super.
Show off.
Well, no, I'm super active. I teach classes
I know
every
you
week.
are.
It's
I'm
but I
kidding.
mean, so but
You
then the
haven't been injured
reality
yet.
of well, no, I've been injured a few times, but the point is that I'm still, I don't feel
You know, shut your mouth. You're going to be injured
Like
here
that's
really
it.
quick.
That's injured.
yeah, that's injured. Yeah, as we're looking at Mike's big thing on
Yeah.
his leg. Yeah, but holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
I
think
just pulled a hamstring right there.
he just pulled a hammy lifting his leg. Oh my God. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like you with the motorcycle and all the other stuff. We don't feel like we're this age. It's like, when the hell did this happen?
Right.
That's really what it is. You know,
So
we're
let's
60
focus-
and
let's
holy crap.
focus on what we can do, right?
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
nobody knows how long they have to live. Let's face that. You know, and like guys like you and me, Mike, right? I know I wasn't supposed to live to see 30. You know what I mean? So this is great. I mean, there's just a certain point, and this is one of the things I love the most about reaching 60 is, hey, when I was 20, did I have 5 years ahead of me? Probably not. Now I'm 60. Maybe I have another 10, 20, 30 years ahead. I'm gonna raise hell.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
care,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
you know, here I am at 60 years old, and you know what I'm happy that I can still do at the age of 60? Drive a golf ball 300 yards, because I can still crack it 300 yards. Now,
Into
it may,
the woods.
it may be in the woods, but if you get a tape measure out, that went 300.
I'll take my 220 up the middle. We'll see.
The Big 60 Life. Go to YouTube, subscribe. Jim and Alex, thanks, guys. Great time here as
Mike,
always.
you're the best.
Thanks, Mike.
Makes an hour fly
the
by.
original old badass. We love you.
I want my T-shirt, and I want it soon.
Yeah, we'll get one for you, Dad, too. Definitely.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Jim, Alex, thanks, guys. Stay tuned. The John James Freedom Pep Rally is coming up next. I'm Mike Violet. I'll see you back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 6. Happy Columbus Day.
Perhaps it's partisan politics, or perhaps it's flat out bigotry, but I'll never really understand why some people refuse to honor Native Americans on Indigenous Peoples Day. This is Ethan Strimling with Swing Hard, Turn Left. I understand a basic tenet of conservatism is to resist change, to look to the past for hope, to want to reverse progress to a time when perhaps it was easier to look the other way at injustice and racism. But honestly, Christopher Columbus, he was apparently incompetent according to his own government. And when he got here, he enslaved people, was a sadist, incited a genocide. I mean, maybe it's the same belief system that says we want to honor this man that says we need to keep Confederate statues up. Statues of others who enslaved people and whipped them and tortured them. Statues of people who tried to destroy our country like Robert E. Lee. I guess I don't really understand that either. But instead, on this Indigenous Peoples Day, I hope that we all can honor those who were the original tillers of the soil from which we all reap. This is Ethan Strimling with Swing Hard, Turn Left.
Road to the White House. A busy week for President Trump starting tonight. ABC's Rachel Scott.
In Florida, holding a rally at an airport hangar. Before he tested positive for the virus, he was packing in those events. A Trump campaign official tells me the president's supporters will be instructed to wear a face mask. They will be handing them out. Sources tell us he is expected to be out every single day this week, but he has a lot of ground to cover, and he's behind 12 points in our latest ABC News poll.
Joe Biden has in-person events in Toledo and Cincinnati, Ohio today, the latter a voter mobilization effort. ABC's Jonathan Karl says Supreme Court confirmation hearings probably won't distract from this campaign issue.
The main story, the story of the moment, is the pandemic, the outbreak at the White House, and the outbreak across much of the country, where several states now experiencing record highs in terms of coronavirus infections and also hospitalizations, the death rate rising. There's really no distracting from that, even a battle over a controversial Supreme Court pick.
Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
Millionaire Sarah Gideon's tax hike would increase the price of gas and home heating oil in Maine by 40 cents a gallon. To regular Mainers, that would really hurt. Here's Dawn from Booth Bay.
The last thing I need right now is higher fuel bills.
We're having a hard time as it is now. It would affect my family. Certainly would affect my friends because we're not wealthy people. With the economy, it's really bad for a lot of the people here. I don't know how I would make it through. Maybe I'll have to close my house up. Sarah Gideon is a millionaire. She doesn't know what it's like to be cold and miserable. I don't feel like she's very sincere in what she says. Sarah Gideon has done nothing at all to help us. Nothing.
Say no to Sarah Gideon. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
We're here on Colby campus today to interview student voters about the upcoming election. Hello, young man. What's your name?
Jimmy.
Where are you from, Jimmy?
California.
And where will you be voting this year?
Waterville.
And who will you be voting for State House?
Well, they handed me a sample ballot with the candidates' names circled I'm supposed to vote for. I think it was Madigan.
I see. High property tax rates are a big issue in Waterville. Waterville homeowners pay a property tax rate 28 times greater than Colby College, Waterville's wealthiest institution. Do you think that's fair?
No, that doesn't sound fair at all.
Did you know the person that they told you to vote for opposed efforts to have Colby College contribute more in property taxes to the city?
No, but I wish I did before I voted.
Don't be like Jimmy. For years, local Democratic candidates have run a vote mining scheme on Colby campus to get elected. They're counting on your uneducated vote. This year, before selecting your local candidates, please take the time to do your homework. Waterville residents deserve your educated vote. I'm Mark Andre, unenrolled for State House, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Mark Andre for State House. I want to tell you about all of the incredible items you can find at Townline Antiques, but there's no substitute for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Now's the perfect time to shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home something to decorate a room with style, add to your collection, or share wonderful memories of your past with family and friends. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to